People have been asking me a lot of Dr. Doom questions, so I'm going to do a bunch of them rapid fire. If a Latverian citizen is harmed in another country, does Doom care, or does he let someone else take care of it? A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Many times Doom will personally show up to smite those who have disrespected his country and his people, but sometimes he's busy, so a Doombot does it. Would Dr. Doom teach a citizen of his nation magic? Yes, there are several accredited universities in Latveria, including Doom Academy, where people learn magic. You can simply learn super science or magic through the Latverian education system. Just that easy. Victor Von Doom versus the Doom Slayer. How does that go? Dr. Doom goes to hell like every year just to fight the demons that have disrespected him and his family line. Honestly, I think it'd go a lot better than you think. I think the two would be good friends. I just hope that Dr. Doom never says anything bad about Isabel. If you were a Latverian citizen and had questions about magic or tech or anything, could you just walk up to Doom and ask? Well, yes, actually. Doom allows free audiences in Latveria. Any Latverian citizen can request an audience of him and ask whatever they wish. And as long as it's not insulting to Doom, he'll probably grant your requests. Doom is very pro-education. Like, he is a scientist first. He believes that people have the right to know things. He knows he's always going to know more than you. Does Doom have a grandma? Not currently. Romani prejudice. What's Dr. Doom's favorite food? This one's a little bit hard. They never explicitly mention it. But every time Doom has a panel where he has a feast, there's a whole roast bird there of some sort. And I don't think that Doom is, like, boring enough to enjoy turkey, so I'm gonna say duck, roast duck. How does Doom view mutants? Does Latveria have any mutant residents, past, present, or even temporary? This one's going to be complex, so I guess this is going to be the last one for this omnibus. It depends on when you're talking about. Remember, in very early Marvel Comics, everyone was prejudiced against mutants. But current-day Doom is not. Current-day Doom has his own mutant strike force, kind of like his own X-Men, along with his own mutant academy. One of Dr. Doom's sons was also a mutant. He also took in a mutant who had the power to control all disease, and unfortunately, that mutant went crazy and killed a lot of Latverians, so I had to put him down. And I mean, Franklin Richards is a mutant-ish, kind of, maybe. I mean, they retcon that a lot. And he loves Franklin. And he has his on-again, off-again thing with Storm. He invites Wolverine and other mutants into Latveria all the time. He's very pro-mutant. He's just wary if those mutants are not Latverian citizens, because then they could be a threat. I still have so many more Dr. Doom questions to go, so I guess follow for part 2. Dr. Doom Omnibus number 2, let's go. Why is Doom a villain again? Lots of people ended up asking this, and my best answer is, that's the question Marvel wants you to ask. But the purest answer is, remember, all this good stuff we're talking about is for Latverian citizens. If you're not a Latverian citizen, and you get in Doom's way, Doom has no issue killing you, or wiping your country off the map, or erasing your timeline, or anything like that. Doom is a narcissistic megalomaniac who will eliminate literally anyone and anything that annoys him even in the tiniest bit. He just also cares for his own people. If you were traveling outside of Latveria, would Doom be able to give you money? This will also answer another question that I've gotten, is Latveria part of the EU? No, Latveria is not part of the EU, because that would involve accepting that other countries are equal to Latveria, which in Doom's eyes they're not. He is superior. And the unit of currency that Latveria uses is the Latverian franc. We don't know the exact value of it, but we know that it is stronger than the US dollar. And when you exit the country and you need money, you just kind of take how much you need. Real answer is most money is digital these days, so you're just gonna have a Latverian, like, card. It's not even a credit card, it's just a card. And you're gonna use that for, like, anything you need. What does Doom think of small-time heroes? Well, he's teamed up with them a lot. Like, he's teamed up with Spidey, he's teamed up with Wolverine. I mean, if they stay out of Doom's way, he has no issue. If they get in Doom's way, well, then lasers. What would Doom think of Megatron's peace through tyranny ideology? I admittedly have not read a whole lot of IDW Transformers. This makes me think I should. Anyway, it seems to be up Doom's alley. He probably wouldn't be cool with Megatron, though. I mean, he'd see him as an obstacle. Is there voting in Latveria? No. No, Latveria isn't a democracy, it's a dictatorship. Doom is the final say on any and all things. That's just how it is. What would Doom do if people dressed up as Doom for Halloween and called themselves Doom? He probably wouldn't care. They're no threat to him, and I mean, if kids did it in honor of him, I mean, yeah, like he knows how kids work. He has kids. What is the geographical landscape of Latveria? You'd live there if it had mountains. Well, it does have mountains. We do see that Castle Doom is in the mountain. We don't actually know exactly where Latveria is because its location is kept vague, so it doesn't insult any particular country. It borders Romania. That's about all we know. If Marvel gave me permission to write a Doom series, what would I write? I would write a story where there's some Doom impersonator doing things, and everyone in the world thinks it's actual Doom. And anytime someone comes to Doom, he simply says, "It's not me." Refuses to elaborate, simply says, "It's not me," and get out. And then throughout the series, they take down the impersonator and they realize that it wasn't Doom. And then they go back to Doom and ask, why didn't he help take down this impersonator? And he answers, because you were going to do it for me. At least that's what I could come up, in 10 seconds. Stay tuned for part 3. Dr. Doom Omnibus Part 3. Let's go. You love that it's canon that Doom is on the nice list. Even Santa agrees that Doom is great. I'm just here to reaffirm this. Yes, Doom is canonically on Santa's nice list. He has also been Santa in the past. I think that was in a Lemon Pledge crossover, but yeah, he's done the work of Santa. So your childhood presents might have been given to you by Doom. What would Doom think about Lord Drakon? I do know a bit about Lord Drakon, because I'm a bit of a Power Ranger head. But I think Doom would think Drakon's methods are sloppy. Drakon is a pretty standard warmonger. Like, he fits the fascist villain mold perfectly, and I think Doom probably wouldn't respect that as much. How would Doom react if someone was Doom, like a clone of him or a manifested soul fragment or something like that? Well, it depends. Are they standing in his way? Doom is currently chilling around with a T-Rex version of him from another timeline where dinosaurs ruled the Earth. Even uses it as his mount. So, if you're gonna ally yourself with 616 Doom, then he'll treat you like an ally. But there is another Doom who made peace with Reed Richards and turned his timeline into a utopia. Dr. Doom incinerated that whole timeline. He also cloned himself, gave the clone superpowers, was going to make him an heir. Clone tried to overthrow him, so he killed him. So yeah, Doom interacting with people who are actually Doom. Same rules as everyone else. If you stand in his way, he'll deal with you. If you don't, then everything's fine. How often would you have to hail Doom? Doom has a psionic link to every Latverian citizen. There is no schedule. He just knows. There's no, official Pledge of Allegiance, although some comics have portrayed people doing as such. Doom just knows. So, be careful of your thoughts there, buddy. How approachable is Dr. Doom for a regular person? Like, if a regular person wants his autograph. Doom has been portrayed on panel signing autographs before. That does not seem to annoy him at all. Of course people would want his autograph. He's Doom. What would Doom think of the Flash, in particular Wally West? I think he would probably put the Flash in the same category as, Spider-Man. Look at them as generally, a good force in the world, but clearly below him because Doom. The problem is, don't let Doom know about the Speed Force. Because a fundamental force that can rewrite the laws of physics is something that Doom would take a deep interest in. A deep interest in. At which point, it wouldn't be looking so good for old Wally. How does Doom feel about Hank Pym being confirmed as the Scientist Supreme? He's addressed this. It's not a big deal. Tons of people have had the title of Scientist Supreme. Like Lyle Getz, George Clinton, Victor Conrad. Don't know who any of those guys are? Exactly. Doom doesn't care. What is Doom's general view on ruling beyond Earth? While Doom has been shown to have, bigger aspirations at times, in general, his aspirations are kind of limited to Earth, at least in terms of protection. Like, if Earth is under threat, Doom does step up to address that threat. Doom, first and foremost, wants to rule, and he wants to rule the world, our world. He wants a one united Latveria that covers the whole Earth. Everything else is really secondary. And he knows you gotta, walk before you can run. So, Earth first. You keep hearing me say stuff like what you need. Do you only get stuff you need in Latveria, or you get stuff that you want? Yeah, you could get stuff that you want. The limitation is, does this stand to be a threat to Doom or Latveria? So if you, want a bunch of big screen TVs, that's not a big deal. But if you go to Doom and you're like, I want a nuclear missile, Doom's gonna ask, Why? And you better have a good explanation. How do you contribute to a society when Doom can make anything? Well, there are ways to contribute to society outside of, just providing labor. Art is one. Not actively damaging society, not making the lives of other Latvians worse. Doom expects that you help out. Doom can do everything, but, if you see someone who is fallen down and scraped their knee, you don't need a Doombot for that. You should help out your fellow Latvian. And if you're the guy who's constantly shoving people, then eventually a Doombot's gonna have words with you. Basically, everything you do should make Latveria a better place. If you make Latveria a worse place, then you're in trouble. Wait, Doom doesn't care if someone steals? For the most part, no, if it's replaceable. If it's not replaceable, like your data, then Doom would probably care about that. But, if you're on the internet in Latveria, you're gonna have a backup. And if you're worried that someone would harm you with that data, well, Doom steps in to protect his citizenship from harm. So I guess the question Doom would ask is, why is that data precious? And then he will take actions accordingly. Does Doom have any regular human friends? Depends on what you mean by regular human. He's the godfather to Valeria Richards, and she has no superpowers. And he's broken the fourth wall and hung out with writers like Jonathan Hickman. So, do those count as normal? If someone from Latveria discriminates against another Latvian, does Doom deal with them himself, or does he not care? Oh, Doom deals with them himself. Or, sends a Doombot. Remember, 2 rules: hail Doom and contribute to Latvian society. If you are discriminating against another Latvian, you are actively working against Latvian society. And Doom's gonna have a problem with that. Has Doom ever admitted he was wrong about something? What are you talking about? Doom is never wrong. You hear that, local Doombots? Doom is never wrong. What if someone steals something sentimental in Latveria? A lot of people have asked this, and like I've said before, Doom or Doombots will, or maybe one of the Mutant Task Force or something like that will probably step in. But remember I said there were only 2 doctrines in Latveria? Hail Doom and contribute to society. Part of the contribute to society is this: if someone local is causing problems, like stealing sentimental shit from someone, you and your community is expected to handle them to the best of your ability. Doom will step in, if needs be, but a functional community should be able to handle someone who's just starting trouble. Figure out why they're doing that. Do they need therapy? Are they not receiving enough resources? So, it depends on how big of a problem it is. If it's a big enough problem, Doom will solve it. If it's a small problem, then Latvian society should contribute and help you out. You worry about the message that my Doom content is sending. Well, remember, Doom can only exist in fiction. Doom can only exist in a world where resources are infinite. Doom is a condemnation of dictators. Because you're supposed to look at Doom, and then you're supposed to look at every other would-be dictator and be like, wow, Doom's better than them. It's if this dictatorship were actually working, wouldn't you have universal health care? Wouldn't you have all your needs met? If your needs aren't met, it's not working. There is no right way to be a dictator. Doom is still a villain at the end of the day. You're supposed to be damn, this supervillain is doing more for us than our actual political leaders. And that's supposed to make you think. I mentioned the idea of suggesting something Doom hasn't thought of, and if it's genuine proven to Latveria, he'll just do it. But you wonder, if something like that happens, will Doom take out his wrath on you? Honestly, that's just a risk of living in Latveria. For the most part, it's gonna be fine. Doom knows he is not omniscient. He does not know everything, he just knows the most that you can. So for the most part, when Latvians have audiences with him, it's fine. But if you stroll up and you're like, Doom, I have an idea how to handle Reed Richards once and for all, you might get fried for that. It's just a chance you have to take. Like I said, Doom is a megalomaniac. If you live in Latveria, that's just your life. What if you wanted to transition in Latveria? This has been a question that has been asked several times, and I've actually answered it several times. But yes, there have been on-comic panels of Doom just magically, genetically modifying people's bodies. If you want a body that you want, then yeah, you could just have it. Doesn't really matter the reason. Like, you just get the body you want. Would Doom teach you magic? Probably not personally. Would Doom teach you magic? Probably not personally. But there are many accredited universities in Latveria that teach magic, so go ahead. You wonder how Doom would react to a citizen going up to him and saying, hey, obviously I'm never going to succeed because you're Doom, but could I as a hobby attempt to overthrow you? I do think you'd probably get fried for that. Ooh, that's almost 10 minutes of Doom trivia for that one. And I still got more in the hopper, so let's see if we can get another one of these out. Dr. Doom Omnibus number 4, let's go. How would Doom react to and treat Escador from the 7 Deadly Sins? I have gotten this question so much, and I feel like I just have to come clean. I haven't watched the 7 Deadly Sins. I haven't read the 7 Deadly Sins. I consider myself a pretty big anime fan, but the elevator pitch never landed. I'm gonna have to watch it and basically see what's up. From what I understand, basically, dude's cursed to think he's better than everyone else. Kinda a bad thing to be around Doom. Though Doom has, healed people and removed curses out of spite. Just like how Reed Richards healed his face out of spite, so that's not off the table. Do I think Doom could beat Yaldabaoth or Nyx from the Persona game? I'm not really a power scaler. The point of these characters in the Persona games are that they're supposed to be imposing primordial deities that are shackled by very specific rules. My basic read, if a teenager could do it, Doom could probably do it, but he'd probably have to go through some trauma first to make it interesting. Did I say Lemon Pledge? Yes, I did. If this is a yaoi joke, good for you. But yeah, for some reason, whenever Dr. Doom interacts with Santa or Christmas, it has to do with Lemon Pledge. Here we have him receiving Pledge lemon-scented armor polish. He says, "You read my letter. Guards, bring this man milk and cookies." Although that's not always the case. One time Santa brought Doom a teddy bear. It just made him happy. And one time Santa was sick, so Doom filled in for him as Santa Doom. Kinda neat that Marvel Santa, when he needed to save Christmas, turned to Dr. Doom. Is Doom willing to just give people superpowers? I mean, yeah, for the most part. The amount to which he gives you powers is going to be dependent on how much of a threat you could credibly be to Latveria. But they are just, people with superpowers, metahumans inside Latveria, kind of just living, using superpowers to make Latveria a better place. Not entirely clear how they got their superpowers. I mean, they were basically background characters. Pretty much assumed that, since Doom can just magic stuff into existence, he could just magic use some superpowers too. Or super tech. Would you get a second chance if you do something stupid as a Latverian citizen? Not very stupid, just a little stupid. Doom, in his opinion, is a forgiving leader. So you'd get plenty of second chances if you did some things that are just a little stupid. As long as it doesn't annoy Doom, you're golden. But if you do fuck up on a grand scale, well, that might be a problem. Does Latveria have a flag? Yes, Latveria does have a flag. The Latverian flag is this flag. It's green, black, and red with sometimes a little bit of white around the trim. Totally unrelated, but speaking of those colors, free Palestine. Let's move on. What would Doom think of Spiral Power and Simon from Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann? Well, if it's Spiral versus Anti-Spiral, Doom is definitely on the Spiral side. Remember, Doom's just a dude. He has no metahuman powers. Everything he has done has been something he has learned, whether it's sorcery or tech. So the sheer power of will and human progress allowing him to do anything? Yeah, I think he'd want that. What would Doom do if there's an overpopulation issue in Latveria? There isn't. Doom has control over space and time. Some houses in Latveria are bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. How does Doom feel about alcohol and other drugs? Fine. He always has wine at his dinners. As long as you don't hurt anyone, you're free to do any substance you want. And Doom's been to, other dimensions before, so he knows the good shit. He's doing the hard fucking shit, the mystical fucking open your mind shit. What do you think, Doom wouldn't do drugs? Doom literally will take any advantage possible, chemical or otherwise. What's Doom's opinion on the Geneva Conventions? Mere suggestions in the presence of Doom. Doom doesn't follow the Geneva Conventions. The Geneva Conventions follow Doom. No, really, he thinks that he's so good of a leader that, world policy should follow his lead. Why doesn't Doom just use super magic to make the entire world Latveria? Well, you're right, he does want people to hail Doom by their own volition, but making the whole world Latveria is basically the plot of the current One World Under Doom run. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. Can you use a Doom bot as a therapist? I mean, you can. You could also use a therapist as a therapist. There are therapists inside Latveria that offer their services, just not for money. That's the thing. There are no jobs in Latveria, but people still work because people still want to help out their fellow Latverians. So, there are just therapists. You could just go to a therapist. I mean, I guess you could go to a Doombot too if you really want to be talking to someone who looks like Doom about this stuff, but I would suggest going to a therapist. And finally, so Santa respects Doom more than Darkseid. I didn't think about this before, but yeah, Darkseid is on the naughty list, and Santa always brings him coal. And Doom is on the nice list, and Santa always gives him presents. Isn't that nice? Will we need an omnibus number 5? We'll see. Doom omnibus number 5. The bus keeps on rolling. Can Doom wield Mjolnir? And if not, I'm going to stop you right there. Yes, Doom can wield Mjolnir. He is considered worthy. Also, one time he used Cap's shield, too. Made himself a copy of that. Does Doom see non-Latverians as equal to Latverians? Everyone is a Latverian in Doom's eyes. It's just a matter of whether or not they've realized it yet. How would Doom react to Doctor Who? Hold on. Do you mean the Doctor? Sorry, had to do it. I think he'd take a keen interest in his biology and tech. An interest that is so keen, it will probably cause several regenerations. In fact, Doom is the kind of person who will probably just kill the Doctor until he gets an actor he likes. Maybe a silly question, but how do you tell which is a Doombot and which is Doom himself? You don't. Since personas are the representation of someone's subconscious, and great people have been personas before, then there could be a persona of Doom. Yes, and I think that if Doom were in the Persona universe, Doom would be Doom's own persona. Would Doom force authors in his nation to always praise him, or have mandatory praise in their novels? No, like I've said before, Doom knows if you're praising him. He cares a lot more that all Latverian literature is better than any other literature. Since there's no jobs in Latveria, can you just not work at all? Yeah, if you want to. You could just live. What about creative jobs? Art, directing, writing? You could do that too. Follow your heart. Doom provides. How easy is it to become a citizen under Doom? There's no real, process. You just kind of go there, and if you have an intention to become a citizen, then you become a citizen. It's basically it. The process is literally just have the intention to be a Latverian citizen, and Doom can sense that, and there you go. Does Doom allow people to practice religion in Latveria? There is total freedom of religion in Latveria. After all, Doom is above all your gods anyway. What does Doom wipe his butt with? Presumptuous of you to think that the great Doom has a need to wipe. But should the need arise, Reed Richards will do. Why hasn't Doom cured cancer? He has. Maybe superheroes should stop raiding his labs. Why would Doom need an heir? Doom doesn't need an heir. Doom has lots and lots of backups of himself. Doom has an heir because Doom wanted a family. Someday, he kind of wants to see people follow in his footsteps. So Valeria, Kristoff, his other children, they're there just in case. But mostly they're there because Doom enjoys their company. Would Doom give you a little kiss if you asked really nicely? Well, you'd have to ask really, really nicely, and the mask stays on. Hi, what if someone releases a good scientific work criticizing Latveria or Doom? Well, then there would have to be concrete scientific evidence that something's wrong with Doom. And as far as Marvel continuity goes, we haven't found that yet. Doom would be willing to read your paper, but it better be ironclad for your sake. How do you think Doom will feel about Eisen from Bleach? Doom would see most villains beneath him. Doom does see most villains in the Marvel continuity beneath him. Remember, Doom doesn't consider himself a villain. He is the hero in his own story. So other villains that cause pain to others are clearly inferior. Also, any villain that struggles with teenagers, Doom would probably laugh at. What do you think Dr. Doom would think of Ben 10? He would think Ben is annoying as fuck, as you said. He would, however, want to study the Omnitrix. And I know a bunch of Ben 10 stands are going to be like, oh, but the Omnitrix protects Ben, oh, but this, oh, but that. There are so many ways you can study something outside of just besting someone in battle. Ben's a snotty little teenager. He's easily manipulated. I cover a lot of the good things Doom has done, but could I follow him despite the genocide of other realities and timelines he's committed? Well, I'm in the US despite the genocides they've committed. If my country's doing awful shit, I might as well get free healthcare out of it, right? Bro, you need some sleep. Every video I see you in gets further exhausted. Okay, this one's not about Doom. Dude, have you gotten sleep at all? Okay. The bags under my eyes are permanent. The result of a childhood fever. That being said, no, I have not been sleeping well recently. Those who have been following me for some time, my house basically got sold from underneath me. I had to make a very expensive move on very short time, and money's tight, so I'm taking a lot of side gigs. So, in the absence of a benevolent dictator like Doom, if you want to help me out, check out my Patreon. Any bit that you could throw my way helps out, even $1. And then I won't have to do as many side gigs as I usually do, which will mean I'll be able to get more sleep. Is Doom's mask smiling in that teddy bear panel? Yes. Yes, it is. Dimension 20 on a Doom Omnibus. Doom Omnibus 7, let's go. Do I think Doom likes metal music? Not a joke, but do you think he actually enjoys the genre? Well, Doom, by his own words, is a connoisseur of music of all types, so he's that guy who listens to everything. He also has composed his own music, but in the comics they usually just show him listening to classical music, and I think that that's a missed opportunity. I want to see him put Mr. Fantastic in a torture device, and as he evil monologues to him, blast some Nightcore. What would Doom wish for if he found the Dragon Balls? Doom has said that if he actually could have a wish that would make anything happen, he would wish for world peace under Doom. He has specifically said his goal is world peace multiple times. That being said, the Dragon Balls have a lot of limitations, and I'm not entirely sure that they could give him anything that he can't already get himself. Might be nice to wish his mom back to life. That'd be kind of cool. But Mephisto would probably have words about that. What would happen if you thought something bad about Doom while being a citizen of Latveria? Your local Doombot has been notified. How would Doom react if a Latverian citizen died protecting a non-Latverian? He'd probably honor them. It is only natural for heroes to come from Latveria. He also may kill the villain responsible. Doom is big on credit where credit is due, and credit always goes to Doom and sometimes some other person. So there would be some recognition there. Would I say Doom means well, but at the end of the day, he's still a villain? Yeah, that's like his entire shtick. If Doom sees everyone equally beneath him, then how does that work for really terrible people? Like, well, everyone is equal underneath Doom. Doom doles out his judgment equally among everyone. And his judgment for terrible people tends to be severe. There are so many things worse than death. So many things. So yeah, don't be a terrible person in Latveria or anywhere. Does Doom ever find out he's in a comic book? Well, Doom has hung out with comic book writers on panel before. It's usually done as a gag and it doesn't stick around as a plot point like it does in Deadpool or Gwenpool or She-Hulk or stuff like that. But usually when he meets the writers, he threatens them in some way. Either that or, it's done for a joke. See the previous comic I mentioned where he hangs out with Jonathan Hickman and says he doesn't eat hot dogs because the slit in his mask is too small. So long story short, yes, but not in any serious way. But, that's just another thing you could keep in the Doom Vault of Powers, you know what I mean? The fucking what guy? The welcome guy. Basically, all I'm saying is, all you have to do is ask yourself, how does this advance or advocate the glory of Doom? And if the answer is anything positive, you could do anything in Latveria. Yes. Anything that helps Latveria and its people, or Doom himself, Doom is all for. Anything that harms him, he's all against, and anything that's neutral, he just doesn't care about. These videos have made you love Dr. Doom. I'm happy about it. He is my favorite Marvel villain, possibly my favorite villain of all time. He's emotionally and mentally complex. He's written both seriously and goofy. He's been a protagonist, an antagonist. He's filled a lot of roles. I just think he's a very interesting character. And I think the people who call him a Gary Stu just don't fucking get it. Especially with how often Doom eats shit. I didn't say that for any Doombots listening. So if a Doombot thinks that it's the real Doom, how can Doom tell that he's not a Doombot as well? Well, because he's Doom. He's better than that. But also, this is why every so often Doom presses the self-destruct all Doombots button. Just to be sure. You could always make more Doombots. Would Doom play Doom? Doom has been shown to be an avid gamer, usually because of crossover things with Marvel vs. Capcom or other Marvel video game properties. Being that Doom has been around since the early 1960s, I have to believe that he took notice of the rise of the FPS and played Doom when it came out. Honestly, one of the things that Doom brags about is that his libraries chronicle history better than any other library in the world, because every other nation's library omits the facts about their own shortcomings. Cough, cough, America. That makes me think that the digital library of Latveria must be awesome. You gotta have access to every video game in, a Latverian historical arcade. That'd be really cool. Did Doom ever actually manage to save his mom from Mephisto? Yes, no. See, the problem is, writers always want to fall back on that conflict. It's one of those perpetual things that Doom can't actually do. He's saved her soul, but then she's ended up back in hell. There's apparently a piece of her soul in his armor, which makes his armor, partially sentient and, looks out and defends him even if he's not paying attention. So, yes, but this is comics, so everything has to return to the status quo, so no. If I could pry my way from DK Bonanza long enough, I'll do a Doom Omnibus Part 8. Doom Omnibus number 42, let's go. What deck would Doom use in Yu-Gi-Oh? Whatever the meta deck is at the time. The Yu-Gi-Oh meta shifts every 3 seconds. What would Doom think of the Joestar bloodline, and their villains and stands, and so on and so forth? He'd certainly be interested in stand power, because stand power basically works on the principle that if you could convince a 5-year-old that it works, then it works. I don't know who his favorite Joestar would be. They all, don't seem to be Doom's vibe. Possibly Giorno? While I don't think Toru would be his favorite villain, Wonder of You would definitely be his favorite villain stand. Of course, if Doom were to get a stand, it would be himself. Have we seen what anti-Latverian propaganda is like in other countries? Yeah, kinda. Do not visit beautiful, scenic Latveria. Tourists will be incinerated on site. I can tell you that's not comic accurate. It is funny, though. Does Doom value vacation? Yeah, he takes plenty himself. He, goes to other planets, other dimensions. You have to go to other places to broaden your horizons. That's why the Latverian passport exists. You could vacation wherever you want. Also, it's a landlocked country, and until Doom manages to take over the surrounding land, you might have to travel to get to a beach. If Doom knows if anyone is thinking it would be awesome to live in Latveria, does he know what everyone on the entire planet at any time thinks? Hard to tell. Probably not. The whole psionic link with Latverian citizens thing is very vaguely defined and hasn't been used in modern-day comics very much. It's mostly an excuse for the authors to be able to hand-wave away, how did Doom know a thing was happening in Latveria? Well, there you go. Your second question is, how could he even lose any fight? Well, you already answered your question. It was a Doombot. What would Doom think of Rick Sanchez? I got this a lot. Considering that the Council of Ricks exists, he would probably remind him a little bit too much of Reed. The thing is, I don't think Doom or Rick have any reason to get in each other's way, so that's just a fight that's never gonna happen. Does Latveria provide free education? Yes, it does. It has schools of all levels, including many accredited universities. It does have international programs. You can study abroad. There's a military academy if you're into that shit, but you don't have to do that. There's plenty of other academies that are non-military. There's one that's just for magic. There's one that's just for mutant. There's one for people who want to get, superpowers but don't have a natural course to get them. And then there's just, arts colleges and stuff. And STEM. If you don't want to go the whole superpowers thing. Would Doom be a cool commander player? Doom does not play commander because he does not see the purpose in a game in which the object is not to crush all your enemies. How is this guy not the biggest Mary Sue? Because there are other conflicts than one dude fighting another dude. Doom has all the power in the world, and it ain't gonna cure his mental illness, or his regrets over his dead mom, or dead girlfriend, or his inferiority complex, so on and so forth. I already did a video on this, but I want to say it again. Latverian Dispensary, yes, it's canon. That's canon. You have to know what Doom hanging out with Rocket is like. Drinking, Shooting shit, building stuff, Monopoly. I'm just highlighting this. Not that I want to put anyone on blast, but I really love the idea of Randall Savage. Vandal Savage's also immortal, but much less interesting cousin. Someone please draw Randall Savage. What does Doom think of me? If someone killed Reed Richards, like in a way where he couldn't be brought back or revived, how would Dr. Doom react? Poorly. Seriously though, you could make fun of Reed all you like, but only Doom gets to kill him. If you killed Reed Richards, Doom's coming after you. I know Doom's supposed to be a villain, but is he really that bad? That is the point of Doom. You're supposed to be asking that question. I have a question. Is it possible as a scientist to invent things in Doom City? It's not called Doom City. It's Doomstadt, and the country's Latveria. Anyway, let's move on. Is it possible for you to invent things that benefit me and others and sell them to other countries and people? You can invent things that help yourself and others, but if you started selling them to other countries and people, Doom would come for you. That would be exploiting Doom's kindness. Doom is anti-capitalist. You don't get to do anything at Doom's expense. He'd be fine with you making something that helps out his people and even helps out the world. He would not be fine with you selling it. You have an important question. What if your preferred method of honoring Doom is you want to be a not as super as Doom hero? Yeah, he'd be cool with that. Like I said, there's basically an academy specifically for training new superheroes in Latveria. Heck, the School of Magic it's called Doom Academy. So yeah. What do I personally think Dr. Doom's favorite video game would be? What? It's not Doom's fault you Philistines have no taste. What happens to Omega-level mutants that appear in Latveria? Well, they don't, often. I would not say that Doom would kill them. Like, Doom hasn't tried to kill Franklin Richards. He just treats him well. So yeah, probably recruit. Unless they, push back and then, well, there's going to be a problem. Do all of the Doom bots have holy enchanted armor, or is it just Doom? It's just Doom. He can give a lot of power to his Doom bots, but he can't go 100% with them. So he does not send a Doom bot army to hell. That ass beaten is personal. Does Doom's magic still come from another source? Yep, Doom is just the dude. No inherent power whatsoever. Though his magic comes from multiple sources, because diversify. That way you can't be cut off at the source. If your magic comes from a whole bunch of different places, then you have the protection of redundancy. That's just good engineering. Would Doom agree to be the best man at a Latverian citizen's wedding? Yes, but you'd never be able to tell whether or not it was a Doom bot. You assume Doom would prefer pirating over paying companies for subscription. Yes, Doom is a fan of the very based crime of piracy. Like I said, everyone was sharing Doom's Netflix, but really, Doom just has a media server that's, set up that Latverians can hook into. He's torrented everything. You should have seen him when LimeWire was the program we were all using. Are Wakandan borders closed to Latvian citizens? I do not believe so. Again, they are an alliance, but then again, that may have changed somewhat after the whole One World Under Doom thing. I don't know. But yeah, I do think you could travel back and forth between the two. Would Doom prefer you eliminate citizens working against society? No, that would, be passing judgment, and you are not the one who passes judgment. Doom passes judgment. That being said, Doom would release the list. They'd be dead by the time it released, but he'd release the list. How good do I think a Latverian zoo or aquarium is? Probably great. Damn, I haven't been to an aquarium in some time. Probably has one of those, little shallow, petting pools, and you could, pet horrible tentacle monstrosities from beyond the pale. Fun for the whole family. How would Doom feel about Rule 64 Doom? Only natural. I'm more interested in Rule 63 Doom myself. Credit to Michael Whitman for the art. How are tourists treated in Latveria, and do you have to be nice to them? They are treated nicely for a very short period of time. If you come to Latveria and you're not looking to immigrate, but you stay there for a prolonged period of time, you are just taking advantage of Doom's kindness, and that won't go over well. Finally, does part of Doom's magic come from the worship of him? Nope, Doom is not a god. He is above your gods. Doom's magic just comes from study and practice. And, also Magitech machines. Really, more people should think about automating their magic. It's a good idea. Number 10, as far as you know. Would Doom be fine with you emulating games? I mean, yeah. I mean, again, Latveria probably has a really good digital library, but yeah, Doom likes based crime, and piracy is a based crime. So a couple questions in terms of games in Latveria. Does that mean that we own the games we buy in Latveria? Gaming in Latveria was a very, common comment this time around. I don't know why. Also, can a Doombot force a certain developer to count to 3 and force others to make good games? Well, first of all, no, you don't own the games you buy in Latveria because you don't buy anything in Latveria. Doom owns all the games in Latveria and he lets you play them for free, whatever you want. And I mean, yeah, Doombots could force developers to, make games, but again, Latvian people aren't, servants. So I sincerely doubt that Doom would have anyone make any media out of force. He would make them make media out of abundance. Unless they cross him, then he might make them do something out of force. Or if he's just having a bad day. Or for no reason. How wrong would it be to say that Dr. Doom is kinda hot? I don't think he'd take issue with it. Yeah, go ahead. He's kinda hot. I agree. How would Doom feel about Metal Sonic's determination, which is the point of transforming into something unrecognizable, aka Metal Overlord? Well, good on you for figuring out that I am a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Shadow primarily, because I never stopped being an edgelord. But Doom has a big attachment to personal identity. Doom never loses himself. He never becomes Big Monster. He is always Doom. So I think Metal Sonic's transformation into Metal Overlord would be looked at as Doom as a weakness. That's Metal Sonic losing himself. And you have nothing in this world if not yourself. So says Doom. What would Doom think of channels like mine, ones answering questions about Doom or Latveria? Doom would probably go to the link in the doobly-doo and subscribe to my Patreon. Doom would also probably check out my sponsor item label, because until Doom can get me to Latveria, I'm gonna need to survive in the US somehow. Does Doom read fanfic? So there hasn't been an on-panel instance of Doom, explicitly reading fanfic. However, Doom does read everything that is written about it. This was originally just supposed to mean news, but it's also, expanded to mean novels. So I'm fairly certain he reads fanfic of himself. If being a Latvian citizen, you stub your toe and say, Doom damn it, would Doom actually damn the table? I mean, he might. Probably not personally, but, magical automated defenses. You never know. I mean, that table could be a fucking demon. Better safe than sorry. Hey, so you have a question, what makes Doom a villain? Let's see. Massive level mind control, nuclear level strikes at the drop of a hat, destroying an entire timeline because that version's Doom made buddy-buddy with Reed Richards, hoarding cosmic weapons of mass destruction. I mean, that's give or take. Take your pick. Will Doom let you pee on him? No. He might let you pee on a Doombot, though. Doom doesn't kink shame. Wait a minute, did you miss Omnibus number 8? You couldn't find Omnibus number 8. Real Latvians know where Omnibus number 8 is. Where's Omnibus number 8? Your local Doombot has been. Are non-Latvians allowed to consume Latvian media? I mean, that depends on your country. In the Marvel universe, the US is not big on letting people, consume Latvian media. But, I mean, the internet is kind of a whole new thing, and they haven't really addressed that since the rise of streaming. So yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some Latvian Twitch streamers out there. Hell, Doom might have his own Twitch stream. No, Doom definitely has his own Twitch stream. What is Latvian culture like? Eastern European, basically. How do you contribute to Latveria if you don't have to have a job? Hey buddy, I'm gonna yank the capitalism pill out of you. You don't need a job to contribute to society. If you make art that makes people happy, you contribute to society. If you help your neighbor, you contribute to society. If you don't cause harm to other people in society, you contribute to society. When I say you don't have a job in Latveria, you don't do stuff for currency. There are still, farmers and therapists and doctors just because they want to do that work. They're skilled and do that work. And they do it for free because everything is provided. Am I okay? No. Sub to my Patreon. What is Doom's title as ruler of Latveria? High Monarch. Though he prefers you just address him as Doom. Is that a Team Diger and flag in the background?
Yep.
How does he even beat Mephisto? He doesn't have cosmic power, does he? Dr. Doom does have cosmic power, but he also has something better than that. He's Doom. At this point, you only have one question in regards to Doom. Does he need a spouse? Because you'd be very willing. Doom loved one person in his life, Valeria. Different from, Valeria Von Doom, his pseudo-daughter, really, Valeria Richards. I'll tell this story in greater detail in another video if you want. But long story short, he loved her. She betrayed him. He continued to love her. Conquered different countries for her, kept her prisoner, continued to try to love her. At one point, the Hulk fucks his shit up. She shows that she still has love for him, cares for him, and then runs away in the middle of the night. And he feels betrayed. She escapes to America. Doom eventually chases her to America, at which point a demonic ritual triggers in which Doom was forced to give up the one thing that meant the most to him. And so Valeria dies, and her flayed skin becomes a new magical protective set of armor on top of his other armor. And he has never forgiven himself, nor has he loved again. So I guess the short answer is no, he's not on the market. Can Doom beat Lady Death? First of all, Doom would never beat a lady. And second of all, Death is very useful to him. Why would he want to beat Lady Death? Then everyone would be immortal. That would make his job way harder. Sonic the Hedgehog is obscenely powerful and would be an interesting fight for Doom. This is true. Sonic the Hedgehog is like Flash level power. In fact, I'm going to say this specifically to piss off a certain type of person. Sonic the Hedgehog is more powerful than the Flash. Whole chest. The thing is, you gotta remember that Doom very often sees annoyance-type superheroes as not worthy of his time. Like, think Spider-Man, right? Like, Spider-Man is low-level enough and annoyance-level enough that sometimes he and Doom just pal around. So I think that's probably what would eventually happen to Sonic. Like, the problem isn't whether or not Sonic is a cosmic threat. The problem is whether Doom thinks he's a cosmic threat. And I just don't see the situation in which Doom sees a cartoon blue hedgehog as a threat. And for that matter, unless, this is some weird crossover where Doom's specifically trying to take over Sonic's turf, I don't see Sonic even crossing paths with Doom. Yeah, Sonic tries to stop people from taking over the world, but, Eggman does it in these huge, grandiose, flashy ways, and Doom does it very matter-of-fact. Is Doom touched by the tism? Well, Doom probably wasn't supposed to be representative of someone with autism when he was first created. You could definitely see a little bit of inspiration for that, in modern-day, Doom stories. Strong sense of justice, need for everything to make sense. I think that's a fair read. So in other words, Doom suffers from PTSD and could possibly be autistic. Oh yeah, here's the thing. Doom is super mentally fucked up. Doom is a narcissist. Doom has depression and anxiety. Doom suffers from CPTSD. He could possibly be autistic. He definitely has a little bit of the ADHD in him. Maybe that's why I identify with him so much. But anyway, yeah, Doom's got hands, but no one's got hands like Mental Ill. Doom Omnibus -1, because I already recorded this whole thing and TikTok fucking lost it. Who would Doom's Digimon partner be? Shoutmon X7F Superior Mode. He's a Digimon that's so much Digimon, the extra Digimon are orbiting him. Also Superior is right in the name. How would Doom treat mental health in Latveria? Not simple things like depression, but things like ASD, so on and so forth. I've tackled this before in other videos. Doom respects the right to refuse care. I mean, if you think about it, Doom kind of has a touch of the tism himself. 2 rules. Contribute to society. Hail Doom. If your neurodivergence does not cause you to break one of those 2 rules, then you are fine. You will not be forcibly fixed. That is some eugenics shit, and Doom does not vibe with that. Doom is the epitome of the Goblin King. Fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave. This is what 80s glam rock Latveria looks like. What would Doom think about Kirby? Immensely powerful, primordial being that could be bought off with cake? Advantageous to Doom. What power would Kirby get if he somehow swallowed Doom? Buttergun. Why does Doom hang out with the Fantastic Four family even though he hates Reed? Why does the family hang out with Doom? Well, Doom really cares about the Richards family, for a lot of reasons. He just thinks that the worst part of it is Reed. What do you think would have happened if Ben Grimm was Doom's roommate and not Reed? Ben would have punched him a long time ago, and Doom probably would have blown up in the portal explosion. Womp womp. What does Doom think of Asgardians such as Loki and Thor? All gods are beneath Doom. Though there was that time that Doom had dinner with Rule 63 female Loki. I mean, there was some sexual tension here, right? Right. What color deck in Magic the Gathering is Doom running? 5 color slivers. Every creature contributes to the whole, but there's one above them all. How would Doom react if a citizen started worshipping him as a god? He would tell that citizen he's not a god and to worship him as Doom. If the citizen continues to worship him as a god, whatever. Doom is a man of science, but he's not anti-religion. There is freedom of religion in Latveria. It's just, you have to acknowledge that Doom is above all gods. I have a question. Do you think reasonably, as long as you showed respect toward Doom, he'd be willing to have a conversation with you? Oh yeah, I mean, he's invited so many people over to his castle. Rocket Raccoon, Wolverine, Juggernaut, Magic, Doctor Strange, Kang, Storm, Loki, Spider-Man, Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, Captain America, Iron Man, the Mandarin, Conan the Barbarian. I mean, that's just who I could remember off the top of my head right now. There's tons other. Doom enjoys pleasant conversation. He does not like debate, though. He finds debate below him. He finds debate to be mere spectacle. It is far better to simply show you how superior Doom is. Are Latverians required to hate the Fantastic Four? No, Doom knows that his grudge with Reed Richards is his alone. Hailing Doom is more important than hating the Fantastic Four. Just don't say too many good things about Reed Richards within earshot of a Doombot. It's a wonder that Doom lets Red Skull live. Yeah, well, the most powerful force in comics is the status quo. How long would Maharaga from Jujutsu Kaisen last in the Marvel Universe? Honestly, not very long. Like, Maharaga's whole thing is that it can adapt. Once anyone with a decent intellect figures that out, then it's just, you know, it's over. Any number of heroes can atomize it. You could always use the ultimate nullifier on it. That's just hiding out in a closet somewhere. Galactus could eat it. And Doom would probably trap it. I mean, he likes keeping other people's ultimate powers as, like, kind of trinkets for a rainy day. Since the only two rules of living in Latveria are contribute to society and hail Doom, how does Doom consider those who don't work contributing to society? You don't have to work to contribute to society. That's capitalism rotting your brain. You can contribute to society in other ways. You can help your fellow citizens. You can make art. You could spread the good name of Latveria. Doom is anti-capitalist. Live your best life, and the glory of Latveria will be spread through it. If Doom taught, would he be Professor Doom? Doom is okay with Dr. Doom, Professor Doom, but he really prefers just Doom. What would Doom think if a mutant with a copycat power copied him and lived in Latveria? So here's an interesting thing. There's a way that Doom deals with people who could copy power. Doom, at any given point in time, is under multiple magical curses and multiple technological devices that are attempting to kill him, that he's specifically set up. And he, at all times, is neutralizing those magical and technological death traps. So one of his fail-safes for people who have the ability to copy powers is that if someone copied all of his powers, then they would also be put under all those curses, all those death traps. And since they wouldn't have the knowledge that Doom had, they would die as a result of copying his powers. What if you just called Doom Victor? Your local Doom bot he wouldn't care. Spider-Man's done it. If you missed a few hundred omnibuses, would Doom be mad? No, there are infinite facts about Doom. Peruse them at your leisure. What would Doom think of Vader, the Empire, and Sidious? Well, he probably wouldn't try and take it over. Remember, Doom is concerned with Latveria first. So the question is, does the Empire attack Latveria? And if they do, well, then there's going to be problems. Don't let Doom see the prequels, because then he would think Vader was an idiot to get so easily manipulated by Sidious. He may, in fact, just heal Vader's body out of spite. He would not vibe with Sidious because Sidious is a pretty standard fascist and Doom does not vibe with fascists, so he gets popped. But Thrawn and Vader, I mean, unless they attempt to kill Doom, he'd probably let them survive. Offer him a place in Latveria. What would Doom think about the main man Lobo? He is annoying, and it is not worth the time and resources to fight him. Merely pay him to go away, and he will go away. Are there any magics that Doom downright refuses to touch? Yeah, he won't make a deal with Mephisto. In fact, he's very skeptical about all magics that purport to, like, grant wishes or give you anything you want. Doom knows that there is always a price. There is always a price. How does Doom feel about garlic? Doom is an accomplished chef, so he knows that there is never, ever such a thing as too much garlic. They only use pimp particles in the movie. Look, I don't know what pimp particles are, but if anyone can distill the essence of being a pimp and use it to their advantage, Doom can. Doom has a mental link to all of his Doombots. I would not try fucking them. Why not? Why is that not a plus? Doom is very into consent. Doom also thinks he's above you, so he is likely not to consent. Would he smite you simply for asking? No. Are you gonna fuck Doom? Also no. What does Doom think of people who speedrun video games? A way to show your mastery in your chosen field. Doom approves. His favorite speedrun? Probably some form of Tetris. Would Rotom Doombot be legal to use in a Pokemon battle? I don't see why not. Rotom Oven and Rotom Mower are potentially lethal objects that are possessed by Rotom. And you may argue that Rotom only possesses normal everyday electronics, and in Latveria, a Doombot is a normal everyday electronic. Pokemon fans out there, stat out Rotom Doombot for me. I'm curious as to what stats, moves, and abilities it would have. Latveria was part of Transylvania. How does Doom feel about vampires? Doesn't like them much at all. They keep coming back. They're like roaches. Why have an Infinity Gauntlet if you only need the stones? Convenient carrying case. How's freedom of speech in Latveria? Can you openly criticize Doom as a leader? You can openly criticize Doom only in as much as you also hail Doom while doing so. Doom listens to advice, but he does not stand for sedition. How would Dr. Doom view Ozymandias from The Watchmen? But why a squid, though? Am I on a first-name basis with Doom? Oh, no. I address him as Doom, like everyone should. Would Doom be pissed or amused if you assumed he was a Doombot? He would be amused if you assumed he was a Doombot. That being said, the Doombot would also be amused if you assumed it was a Doombot. Does Latveria have a national anthem? Yes. And I cannot stress this enough. This is comics canon. The Latverian national anthem is a cover of All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, with love replaced by Doom. This is comics canon. Which country would you say is most like Doom's Latveria in real life? None. That's the point. You can't have a benevolent dictator if you don't have infinite resources granted to you by magic. The character of Dr. Doom is a satire on the dictator. It is condemning the idea that one person can grant everything everyone needs. In order to be a glorious ruler, you literally have to be the best person. You need to know everything, do everything, have robotic clones of yourself. Like, it's impossible. It's impossible. Dr. Doom is a cool comic book character, but he exists as a commentary of the unfeasibility of a dictatorship. Second time around, I managed to make that 1 minute shorter. Anyway, thanks for the monetary support, guys. Every little bit helps. Sub to my Patreon, donate via my PayPal, or check out my sponsor Item Label who makes those plushies. Any of those help me out. Or face the wrath of Doom! Well, it was fun, but the July of Doom has come to an end. So now it's time to... I'm just fucking with you. Doom Omnibus number 3000, let's go! Is Doom's armor a springlock suit? I know this was a joke for all the FNAF at Five Bears fans out there, but yeah, it's a death trap to anyone who wears it, except for Doom. And his soul is partially tethered to it, so yeah. Yeah, it is. So just remember, FNAF fans, Doom did it first. You wonder if Metal Sonic can copy Doom's intellect. Possibly. The trick, though, is that Doom always has a contingency. Let's say you copy Doom's mind, and you copy all his powers. So now you have his mind and his powers, and you know how to disable his death traps. Doom's abilities are also attached to his very soul. Like I said before, his soul's attached to his armor. So there's always another level of security you have to get through that prevents you from copying Doom's powers. Simply put, if you want to use Doom's powers, you gotta be Doom, or else those powers will make you have a bad time. Not me helping run LARPs in Latveria to contribute to society, also hail Doom. Yeah, running LARPs contributes to society. Hell, open up your own Jubentia. God, I wish there were more Jubentia in the US. Or I guess, in Latveria. Providing recreation is contributing to society. Someone's gotta do it. What does Doom think of Franklin Richards? Doom currently really likes Franklin Richards. Arguably, Doom always liked Franklin Richards. Though he did send him to hell that one time. Specifically to piss Reed off. But I mean... Doom knew that he was a reality warper. He'd be fine. He was fine. It was just a little bit of torture. He's fine. What happens if you mistake Latvia and Latveria? Well, you're probably going to be disappointed. What would Doom think about John Wick? Well, I mean, he'd probably just bring the dog back from the dead, right? I mean, problem solved. Why doesn't Doom just cure the Fantastic Four of their power? He has, in fact. He's also switched their powers around between them just to torture them. But the most powerful force in comics is the status quo. If you asked Doom to give you dinosaurs, not for killing people, but just to have, would he give them to you? I mean, probably. There are lots of exotic pets in Latveria. Some people own weird, alien life forms. I honestly don't think that dinosaurs would be that big a deal. If Latveria could have post-capitalist material synthesis tech, why isn't it more common? Capitalism. Lots of people in the Marvel Universe have post-capitalism material synthesis tech. Iron Man has it. He keeps it to himself. He's a billionaire. Hank Pym has it. He keeps it to himself. Reed Richards has it.
keeps it to himself. Normally the comics say the world isn't ready for this, and so they have to keep it out of the hands of the public for fear of total economic collapse. But Doom just doesn't give a fuck. If he can create infinite matter, he's sharing that with the people of Latveria. And I mean, think about that for a second. The Marvel heroes are preventing this level of tech from being commonplace. I mean, it's really because for the longest time the Marvel heroes were written from the perspective of capitalists. Doom's the bad guy because he's anti-capitalist. And the capitalists are doing the good thing by preventing economic collapse by keeping this out of the hands of the normal person. What would be Doom's favorite flavor of Kool-Aid? Doom only drinks Hawaiian Punch. Oh, and that ecto-cooler high C stuff. What would Doom think about the Lich King and the Scourge? Combination of respect for really complicated plans that take hundreds of years to come to fruition, and a bit of disdain for, one, those plans hinging on the actions of one idiot boy to get started, and two, disdain for them wanting to basically destroy the world. Doom is not about world destruction, he's about world salvation. If Doom were to lose his powers, will Latveria rebel? No, Doom lost his powers in the past. Several times. Built new suits out of wooden leather. Fought with his fists. Doom is Doom, powers or no. He can and has built himself up from nothing. As many times as it takes. I just want to remind you, he fights lions naked. Naked. No powers. Doesn't the fact that Doom requires you to acknowledge that he's above your god mean there isn't freedom of religion? No, you're free to worship whoever you like, as long as you acknowledge that Doom is superior. If your religion says you can't acknowledge Doom as superior, that's an issue with you and your religion, not an issue with Doom and Latveria. It's like in our society, if you were part of a death cult that said you had to murder someone every month, we wouldn't let you do that. That doesn't mean that you don't have freedom of religion because your religion says you need to murder people. That means that your religion is problematic. So again, Doom doesn't care about what gods you worship, and Doom doesn't even want your worship because worship is below him. He just wants acknowledgement. And part of that acknowledgement is the fact that Doom considers himself above all gods. If your religion says gods are above Doom, like I said, that's an issue with your religion, and Doom would be happy to test that. How would Doom deal with people who can't hail Doom, whether physical injury or mental problems? So Hail Doom isn't like the Pledge of Allegiance. It's not like you have to get up every morning and do a salute. Remember, Dr. Doom has a psionic link to every Latveria. He knows if you're respecting him. That's good enough. You hail Doom in your own way, whatever way that is. Also, he'd probably get you out of the coma. I mean, right to refuse care, I guess, but no, it's a little weird if you choose to continue being in a coma when you have the option of not. What if you don't contribute to society? Could you just doom scroll on TikTok all day? If you're not harming society in any way, that's fine. I mean, even that is, contributing to society a little bit. You're supporting other content creators, you're creating discussion. The thing is, harming society is the big no-no. If you take advantage of Doom's kindness to harm others in Latveria, Doom does not forgive that. What kind of pro sports are there in Latveria? Well, Latveria has a lot of different teams, baseball, soccer, big soccer team. They don't have an Olympics team, though, because Latveria is banned from all the Olympics, because they're an enemy of, everyone. If a Latverian citizen dies, would a Doom or a Doombot go to retrieve the citizen if they wanted to come back to life? I mean, yeah, probably. Depends on the writer. It's very, iffy gray area about how Doom handles, his citizens who die. But we've seen Latverians coming back to life before. What would Doom think of real-life communist nations like China, North Korea, or the Soviet Union? Obviously inferior to Doom and Latveria. If you asked really nice, would Doom make me a sandwich? You'd have to ask really nice, but it would be one hell of a sandwich. Doom killed all the Nazis in a day, but he waited a while to do it in one day. Yeah, well, the Marvel heroes keep trying to stop him. Even in One World Under Doom, he had to do it in secret so that the Marvel heroes wouldn't stop him. Maybe if they stayed out of Doom's way, there would be fewer Nazis in the world. I have a few fascists I want to shoot into space, if you know what I mean. Does Doom hate vampires on principle, or is it just because most creatures in the Marvel world will, serve Dracula or something? He's not racist against vampires. It's just every time vampires come back to Latveria, there's a big fucking problem. He always gives them the same chances he gives everyone else. Contribute to society and hail Doom. And then they don't, and then he has to deal with them. And they're a recurring problem. It happens a lot. because he's right by Transylvania. What if you offered to run a D&D campaign for Doom? Well, I mean, in times of peace, if he had time, he'd probably accept, with the knowledge that Doom is a very, very busy person. Doom does play TTRPGs. He would definitely power game, though. Though he would also be super invested in telling the best story. Is Doom a Euclid or Keter class anomaly? Doom himself is not an anomaly. He is a guy. His armor and Magitech, though, I'm going to be honest, probably safe. Like, the SCP designations are all about how difficult it is to contain, right? And Doom stuff, like, absent Doom, it could just be put in a box. Doom's Magitech, like, doesn't try to escape its own confinement. It's just that the problem is, if you take Doom's Magitech, Doom is coming for you. And I'd like to state again, punches lions naked.
How does Doom feel about the powers that be in the natural order of things? I haven't fucking read the Marvel Gods issue that came out for One World Under Doom yet. I've been trying to order it. Let me catch up. What does an average citizen outside of Latveria think of Doom? Well, in the Marvel Universe, they basically portray Doom as, scary dictator man. So, like, an average citizen in the US probably thinks him as scary dictator man. Outside of Latveria, he is considered a supervillain. And so most people consider him a supervillain. How do I think Doom would have handled Thanos' snap in Infinity War? First of all, you don't have to snap to use the Infinity Gauntlet. Second of all, if Doom was around at the time, I don't think the snap would have happened. Doom has robbed Thanos of the Infinity Gauntlet in comics past. He'd probably do it again. If Doom could sacrifice Latveria for more power, would he? It depends on what Doom you're talking about. Early 60s Doom? Probably. Modern day Doom? Definitely not. Is Dr. Doom's birthday the highest of holidays in Latveria? No, the highest of holidays in Latveria is Doomsday, which is not Doom's birthday. It is whenever the hell Doom feels like it. Literally, that's canon. And everyone throws a big celebration. How popular is he to his subjects? Yeah, children give Doom presents. Remember, Doom has been Santa Claus before. Doom has been seen, talking with the normal citizens of Latveria. Latverians like him. Is it true that being Latverian comes with protection? Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that nobody likes Latverians. They're scary. You can't mistreat them or else Wrath of Doom. And lots of people are jerks. If Doom could go back in time and undo one thing, what would it be and why? He wouldn't. Use that as cheating. He will solve the problem here and now.
Doom Omnibus number... This person said this is a rare Doom L because Doom says trans rights. Your local Doombot has been notified, a lot. Start running. You wonder what Doom would think of motorsport? Well, he would definitely want any Latvian racing team to be the pinnacle of racing. I did do a scan of the comics. I didn't find many panels with him directly, interacting with motorsports. Latveria is, prohibited from participating in almost every sports league. So, unfortunately, I don't think that they can actually participate. Whole, enemy of the world thing. But Doom has included his Magitech in vehicles before, which, come to think of it, may be another reason why he's not allowed to compete. Does Doom have any natural powers outside of magic and intellect? First of all, his magic is not natural. It's learned. In D&D terms, he's a wizard. So no powers whatsoever. He is just a guy. Secondary question, why does he wear the mask? Well, that's complicated. In early Marvel, it was because he thought his face was disfigured. It was just a small scratch, so he put the mask over his face. Then it became, when he put the mask on his face, it disfigured his face. Then it became, he has to wear the whole armor to get the armor's magical protection. Specifically, the protection that, disjoints him from reality. But I'm gonna be honest, I think he just likes doing it. Are you allowed to goon in Latveria? A Doombot would not be watching you goon. But Doom does have a psionic link to Latverian, so I guess that does mean that Doom watches you goon, or is at least aware of when you goon. Look, just don't think about it too hard, okay? I'm sure he isn't. If Doom played Deltarune, who would his favorite and least favorite characters be? His least favorite is Gaster, because everybody says Gaster does everything, and that's just because they assume that Gaster does everything. There is way, way less evidence for Gaster doing shit than you'd think there is in Deltarune. Some mysterious person doing shit? Sure. But Gaster can't be in the bunker and be the Eggman and be the voice at the beginning of the survey program and be the reason that Caddy's dad lost his arm and be Susie's dad. Come on. No, it's just, no. You can't just fill in the blank with Gaster. That's Doom's opinion, not mine. Don't come at me. Favorite character? Probably Susie. Can't tell her what to do. Even the game mechanics can't. Would I live in Latveria if given the option? If I'm in the Marvel Universe, I'm booking it to Latveria. I can be relatively assured of my survival in Latveria. Or if I don't survive, I could be relatively assured of my resurrection in Latveria. I'm gonna get me some of that sweet, sweet Latverian healthcare. I'm gonna use that Latverian magic to trans my gender and pick up a superpower or two along the way. And then I'll contribute to society by making Latverian TikToks. Shit would be fire, man. Unfortunately, I live in Earth 1218, where Latveria doesn't exist, so I guess we just don't get to have nice things. Would Doom try and get the blueprints to Afton, Henry Emily, and Edwin Murray's creations? I think he would probably just reverse engineer them. Like, once there is knowledge that, you can stuff a soul into an animatronic for some reason, Doom's gonna go, that seems fairly similar to the way that my armor works. Find one of those animatronics and then dissect it in many different ways. As for which animatronic Doom ends up dissecting, I don't know. I don't think there's really anything in the plot that makes any animatronic more or less likely to get captured by Doom if they shared a universe. So I'm gonna say Latverian popularity poll. Who do you want Doom to dissect? Does Latveria have amusement park? Do they? It is a disgrace that the only representation Doom has in America is a drop ride. Roller coasters and theme parks have been featured in the comics tons of time. In fact, the Tomb of Dracula was turned into a roller coaster. Because fuck that guy, I guess. Also, Latveria has a replica of the Incredible Hulk coaster, because also fuck that guy, I guess. But yes, there are several amusement parks in Latveria. And, the super advanced stuff I can't even comment on. He has, floating islands and, weird magical pleasure domes and shit. He has roller coasters that go through tears in reality. It's wild, dude. It's wild. Do I think that Doom needs the piece of the original cross in his armor, or is it there for fear factor? Doom's armor has been destroyed several times, and he's rebuilt it several times, so presumably he hasn't gotten another piece of the true cross. So yeah, I think he's recreated the effects himself, but he'll still say that his armor has a piece of the true cross in it. Has the real Doom ever pretended to be a Doombot to save face for the fact that he was actually defeated? Not that you'd know. I'm sure this has been asked before, but how does Doom eat? With his mouth. He can take the mask off, Here is Dr. Doom eating some potato chips. And here he is eating a taco. Is Dr. Doom more of a cat person or dog person? Also, does Latveria have a national animal? I already covered the national animal thing. Eagles, bears, or lynxes, take your pick. But my guess is a cat person because he has a pet tiger named Gunther. Is Doom just Elphaba to Reed's Glinda? Doom is defying gravity. Does Latveria have its own national parks, park rangers? Yes, this is a map of just the capital, Doomstadt, and there's several parks right here, such as Monument Park down here near the Doomstadt rail station. Castle Von Doom has its own attached park. Doom Lake is considered a park. The Cynthia Von Doom Memorial Park. And again, this is all just in the capital. There are many other parks all throughout Latveria. So Doom has Horcruxes. Up. Doom is not a transphobe. Doom has phylacteries. What is Doom's sexuality because he gives you pan vibe? Doom is above your labels of sexuality. Doom has courted the very primordial forces of the universe. The things that brought forth existence. Doom shall fuck whom he wants, when he wants. As long as there's consent. So yeah, I guess it's Pan. Which comp would Doom run in Marvel vs. Capcom 2? I think he's a Team Clockwork guy. Good old Strider Doom Sentinel. You can't pick Doom, right? What is one main thing I would change about Doom? I see you there, God Emperor Doom. I'm not falling for that trap. Doom's perfect. I wouldn't change anything. Does Doom Psionic Link alert him if his citizens are into him? Yes, but just don't think about it too hard, okay? He's not thinking about it too hard. Just don't think about it too hard. Has Dr. Doom ever been sued? No. Diplomatic immunity. So are rogue Doombots free of the blow up all Doombots button? Depends on the Doombot. The Doombot that I showed in that image, yeah, he no longer has the blow up all Doombots button inside him. There was a whole thing about Hank Pym removing it and so on and so forth, and then him getting autonomy and stuff like that. He knows he's a Doombot, but he still acts like Doom. It's kind of cute. Are Latverian orphanages staffed by people, Doombots, or a combination? A combination. Basically, any business, any establishment in Latveria is going to have a combination of bots and people. Doom likes it when his citizens partake in, creating Latveria for what it is. So, he doesn't stop them from doing labor that they enjoy. But if there's not enough labor, then you just always fill in the gap with Doom bots. Can we trans Doom? Yes, actually. The Doom of Earth 11069 is female. Honestly, screw RDJ. Give me FemDoom in the MCU. Doom Omnibus number 3001. If you were 100 times smarter than Doom and 100 times better sorcerer than Doom, would he let you into Latveria if you truly praised him? That's presuming a lot of yourself. But yeah, he would, and he would get to know you very well. Is this the Latverian hierarchy? You got it. You had a thought about Doom. Maybe Doom's math always shows that Reed is the best because only that way Doom can be at his best if he has an adversary like Reed. By math showing Reed is the best, it drives Doom to be his best. If math doesn't show Reed's the best, Doom can't be his best. Thoughts? Yeah. But actual answer, though, Doom doesn't think that things are easily reduced to math. Reed does, and that's why he's bad at sorcery. So you get that to Doom, everything is below Doom, but how is this not narcissism? It is narcissism. Would Doom approve of Jurassic Park / World? Hell no, Doom's dinosaur attractions are perfectly safe. Since Doomsday is whatever day Doom wants it to be, does that mean it could be like every day for a week if Doom just wanted to relax for a bit? Yeah, it happens sometimes. Sometimes Doomsday is a whole month. Is my name a play on the song My Life is Like a Video Game? Because if it's not, I'm sorry, but that's all you can think of when you see it. No, my name actually comes from a middle school project. We were supposed to do a small paper like, what is your life most like? A poem, a movie, a book, so on and so forth. I chose My Life as an RPG, and it just stuck because no one ever takes that name. What would Doom think of you? Do you think he'd say you're cool? Please say yes. Yes, I guess. Would there be sex work in Latveria? Yes, and it would be safe sex work. Sex work is real work. How easy would changing your gender be in Latveria? Asking for a friend. I mean, you could change your gender right now. So, at least as easy as it is now. But if you're talking about getting a body that truly represents you, that's also doable in Latveria. Doom is fairly liberal with the, magic body alteration stuff. They'll also throw in some cool powers for free as long as you're willing to beat up a superhero now and then. Does Doom send a Doombot or himself to help heroes when there's a villain that's a big threat? Yeah, like all the time. Here he is hanging out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Here he is hanging out with the Avengers. Here's another time he was hanging with the Avengers. This one he hung out with Doctor Strange, Clea, Blade, and Spider-Man, I think. Then there were the tons of times that he teamed up with the Marvel heroes against Thanos. And he was Iron Man once, so yeah. Does Doom want some of your salsa? It's really good and you have a bunch of extra. You wouldn't say no. Is Doom Batman? Yes, but in different wrapping. Does Doom only have one armor set, or does he just have a really tethered soul to multiple armor sets? No, Doom's not like Iron Man. Doom's armor is Doom's armor. It is personalized to him. It's been destroyed before, and he's built it up again from scratch for him. Doesn't need multiple different armor sets for different occasions because his one armor does all. How would Doom deal with Golb from Adventure Time? Doom tends to stay out of the way of giant primordial forces because, he's intelligent. He doesn't need to kick the hornet's nest. If Golb tried to do something to him, he'd find a way to, do something back. But, Golb was defeated by singing, and Dr. Doom can sing. Does Doom give Latverians time to prepare for Doomsday? Not really. He just kind of drops it on them. But you don't get in trouble if you don't celebrate it. Again, Doom's a guy. He's not a computer. If he announces, today's Doomsday, people are like, all right. Does the app only let you record 5 seconds at a time? Hey, smartass, I have ADHD and a speech impediment. It's better this way. Trust me. Also, your local Doombot has been notified. Understanding that even nations adversarial to each other take part in assisting the Foundation within the SCP universe, do you think Doom would supply resources / manpower or bot power to the SCP Foundation? I think Doom would cooperate as long as he's getting something out of it. He would probably think he could contain things better than the SCP Foundation could. But also, he's not going to go out of his way to get a vending machine that can dispense any sort of liquid, It's a little below Doom. If you had a thought of man, this sandwich you're eating is better than Doom, Would he take it seriously? No, again, Doom's a guy. You're capable of understanding that the sandwich isn't necessarily better than your life. Doom is capable of that too. If you're depressed on Doomsday, can you opt out of celebrating it? Yeah, it's not a mandatory celebration, but like, seek Latverian mental health resources. They could help. Your local Doombot has been notified. Is his armor powered by Remnant or Agony? God, I hate that I know, like, the FNAF lore. Anyway, both. They're both lingering spirits of his loved ones and the torment of his enemies in his armor, so he's got both covered. Would Doom kidnap you if you just couldn't get to Latveria, but you wanted to be a Latverian citizen? That's called immigration assistance, not kidnapping. I mean, unless you want it to be. Is this like a kink thing? Were there ever any civil wars in Latveria? As Doom has said in One World Under Doom, all war is outlawed in Latveria. If conflict does arise between Latverians, Doom handles it. He is the last and final arbiter, and also the first and final arbiter. Can we go ahead and lock in Magneto March? Dude, I don't know what I'm having for dinner tonight, but I mean, maybe. I am a fan of Magneto. Does Latveria participate in Eurovision? Unfortunately, the EU considers Latveria an enemy nation, so no, which is a shame because Doom is an accomplished pianist. When Doom plays D&D, does he roll for stats or is he more point buy? Definitely more of a point buy guy. Doom does not leave things to chance. What countries gave up land to form Latveria? Transylvania. Hence the vampire problem. How would Doom feel about the Lich from Adventure Time? Doom has stood against horrors far greater than the Lich. If the Lich steps foot on Latverian soil, Doom will command him to fall. What would Doom think of Shao Kahn or Kotal Kahn? He would think Shao Kahn is a pompous idiot. He may be able to get along with Kotal Kahn, though. Either way, Doom is anti-war. He's pro-conquest, but he's anti-war. So he doesn't really get along with, like, you know, the whole Mortal Kombat, like, battle to the death vibe thing. Doom approve of you cosplaying him at music festivals. Just another Doom decoy. Go for it. What would Doom think of Satoru Gojo? Why is he so sexy, though? Would Doom consider streaming as contributing to society? Yep, streaming is art, making art is contributing to society. Doom is really like, you shall have no gods above me. Incorrect. Doom is not a god. He is above your gods. He explicitly does not want people to call him a god, because it cheapens what he has done as a man. Do I think Reed and Doom would be able to fix their relationship if they passionately made out for a while? I mean, I'm gonna level with you, there have been, like, Rule 63 stories. It didn't work, so it's not gonna work if we gay it up. Does Doom like guns? Not like butter guns, but guns. Is there a Second Amendment in Latveria? Well, if you remember my butter gun video, Doom has used a lot of guns, like, over the year. He prefers science guns to, like, guns with bullets, but he does let Latverian citizens arm themselves, as seen in this picture. Right here. So Doom does not allow Latverians to turn their arms on other Latverians. If they do, first of all, remember he has a psionic link to all of you, so he's gonna prevent you from doing it. Second of all, that prevention may be permanent. If you remember correctly, Professor X has done every bad thing Doom has and more. Doom would say that. Oh, hey, look, Doom showed up in my comments. Thanks. If Doom has tethered his soul to his armor, is he a Lich? Yeah, he's tethered his soul to a bunch of different stuff. And he's kind of detached from reality. So under, like, you know, D&D classification, yeah, I guess he's a Lich. He's not dead, though. Oh, maybe he might be considered dead. He's Doom. The Diablo games, one of the major enemies is Mephisto. While it's not the same Mephisto, would Doom get some enjoyment out of beating an enemy with the same namesake? Doom generally hates demons. So I'm gonna say yes. What if in your heart you recognize Doom as superior, but you cannot in your right mind admit such because you too are aware how Reed Richards is superior to Doom? Are you still recognized by Doom, or are you seen as opposed to Doom? Again, Doom is a guy, he can understand if people have errant thoughts, but, like, if you are, like, actively supporting Reed Richards, your local Doombot has been notified. If you ask Doom to send you to space so you get powers from cosmic rays, will he send you to space? I mean, probably, but he'll also likely just give you superpowers in easier ways. Space is cool, though. You do you. Does Doom sponsor immigration? He directly makes sure it happens. Would Doom give you estrogen if you ask nicely? I mean, yeah, Doom would also just magic you the body you want if you ask nicely. Or, you know, not so nicely to your local Doombot. I mean, be polite. It's good to be polite. How does Doom feel about people choosing to contribute to society with art and music, and how much of the society can choose this option before he forces labor? He does enforce labor. He has Doombots, and he is a big supporter of the arts. Again, accomplished pianist. But he wants the world to see that Latverian art is the best art, so go for it. I don't know if I've answered this in a previous video, but what makes Doom evil? I have answered it in a couple of previous videos, but I'll continue to answer it. Probably all the murder, extortion, timeline deletion. Also, I think he likes mint chocolate. That's the worst evil. This is my opinion on how Marvel did Doom in the first two Fantastic Four movies. I mean, this is obvious. They did it badly. The movies were bad, and they should feel bad. Well, that's all for now. Be on the lookout for Doom Omnibus number 3002 if you could find Dr. Doom Omnibus number 3003. Let's go. Who has more contingencies, Batman or Doom? Someone else responded, Doom has put bits of his soul in time-frozen pocket dimensions just in case. I mean, Batman also went back in time and punched his way back into the present. Like I said, same character, different wrapping. Would Doom let an avatar of a god or demon live in Latveria if under threat? I mean, Doom will let an avatar of a god or demon live in Latveria, period. As long as it has nothing to do with Mephisto, or like relations to Mephisto. Again, the youngest class of Doom Academy just has demons in it. What would I say is the nicest thing Doom has ever done? Let me continue this series without obliterating me. What if a Latverian is mugged by a random mugger outside of Latveria? Again, Dr. Doom has a psionic link to all Latverians. Someone's probably gonna handle that. Likely not Doom himself, but Doombots, one of Doom's strike forces, or just, long-range magic and curses. Doom does have a lot of orbital strike lasers. Would Doom be against brand-name toys, especially because they originate from capitalism? Toys don't really originate from capitalism. Doom isn't about just fulfilling your needs. Doom is a patron of the arts. Doom lets children have toys. Doom has delivered toys. Remember, Doom has been Santa, and is on Santa's nice list. Doom is not an anti-materialist, he's an anti-capitalist. He wants to give his citizens everything that they want and need. He is not okay with exploiting Latverians to do so. Does Doom actually back up his passport and currency? Yeah. I mean, it's an actual threat of Doom. He's a busy man, but Doom makes good on his threats. What would the conversion rate be between Latverian francs and different currencies? Well, an official conversion rate has never been given, but Kristoff, Doom's kid, is on record saying that it is very strong against the US dollar. Honestly, this is one of those it's comics, don't think about it too hard questions. Card that's backed by Doom's notoriety getting advertised by Doom saying he lacks notoriety. I think the Bank of Latveria needs a better marketing department. Something, local Doombot, something. How likely is it for Dr. Doom to admit that he's out of his depth in any given situation? Local Doombot notified has been. Honestly, it depends on who he's admitting it to. He's admitted that he's out of his depth to, Storm plenty of times. Spider-Man, same deal. Doctor Strange, same deal. But Richards, never Richard. There is a whole infamous comic scene about Reed Richards wishing Dr. Doom good luck, and Dr. Doom asking why would he do that, and them going back and forth until Doom, fucking shatters the console that he's at. So if someone hates another person, let's say because they're of a different quote-unquote race, and it just so happens that they work in a Target, then all that someone needs to do is go to Doom and lie and say, hey, this guy didn't let me buy stuff, cursed off Latveria, and Doom, could you do something about it? Okay, first of all, remember, psionic link to every Latverian citizen. Second of all, Doom is very anti-racism because, he's Romani and was a target of the Nazis and the Romani persecution. Third of all, are you saying that you can lie successfully to Dr. Doom? I'm gonna be honest, merely having this thought has notified, every Doombot. Someone's gonna press the self-destruct every Doombot button on you. You not only want to try and murder someone in a racist way, but you tried to trick Dr. Doom into doing it. This is one of the stupidest ideas you could possibly have in the Marvel Universe. Enjoy your stay at a beautiful Latverian re-education camp. Do I think that Doom actually provides anything of worth to these other countries that his people visit in exchange for accepting his currency? Doom does honor all his debts. Like I said before, Doom is not averse to trade. Doom has been shown trading with other countries. So presumably, if you go to another country and you just, cooperate and honor the currency, then Doom will actually give you something of worth. But if you don't, well, that's considered an insult to Latveria, and he won't let that stand. Also, he's never going to forget a debt again after the Luke Cage thing. Has there ever been a Doombot that has overstepped and claimed to be superior to the one true Doom? There have been Doombots that have claimed to be Doom, and you can't get much better than that. You either go rogue or get blown up by the self-destruct all Doombots button. Here's a rogue Doombot. You could tell he's rogue because he wears a suit and tie and has an ambiguous queer relationship with another robot. Or at least in this case, a head. You imagine the money from the foreign part comes from government giving their side of the transaction the payment directly like a subsidy, which means part of the U.S. taxpayers' dollars are spent on the same guy buying Latvian coffee over and over and over again. I mean, it's my headcanon now. Who would win, Doom with only his tech or Doom with only his magic? Sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. Sufficiently understood magic is indistinguishable from science. There is no boundary for Doom. Does Doom use large language models? No, his AI is way better and is made out of magic and is in the hand of greedy capitalists. And also might be sapient, so, you know, that's a whole other Pandora's box to open. Is pornography legal in Latveria? Yeah, why wouldn't it be? What sort of civilized country would start enacting laws that prevent people from seeing pornography? I made myself sad. Is there industry? Like, is there a Latveria in Hollywood? Yeah, there's tons of industry in Latveria. You could open a business, it's just you're not selling it to other Latverians. Any income you get from exports is going to be given to the whole of Latveria. Why would you ever want to leave Latveria? Latveria is the best place on Earth. Parentheses, please send help, there is a Doombot outside my window. Your local Doombot has been notified about that other Doombot outside your window. What are the chances of the retailers incurring the actual wrath of Doom if they don't honor Doom's courtesy? Is it a legal threat? Are there Doom-approved lawyers? Doom does have lawyers, but he prefers orbital lasers. It's a lot more ethical than lawyers. How's the public transport in Latveria? Pretty good, actually. A couple trains sometimes get lost in other dimensions, but otherwise pretty good. If there's no money in Latveria, how are they supposed to gamble? With their lives. Doom was Iron Man? What? Yep, the infamous Iron Man. So after the events of Civil War II, Iron Man is supposedly killed by Captain Marvel. Dr. Doom rescues Maria Hill of S.H.I.E.L.D. from a demon, because Dr. Doom hates demons, goes to Tony Stark's lab, talks with the lab AI, and is like, you know what? The world really does need an Iron Man. I guess I'll do it. And then he did it. It's a pretty good run, too. It has Mephisto disguising himself as Reed Richards and trying to take down Doom, like, just via public image. It was pretty cool. Could you ask Doom for your own butter gun? Depends. Salted or unsalted. Would Dr. Doom respect Say someone had a counterfeit Latverian Express card. Would Doom seek retribution because of the crime? What is up with all you guys thinking you could just fool Doom? This is a bad idea. Local Doombot notified. What's my favorite sandwich? Okay, I guess this is off topic, but I used to make a thing in college called The Sandwich. It was teriyaki chicken with spinach, hot peppers, smoky chipotle sauce, lots of caramelized onions. And I still make it every so often. It was based off of a Subway order that, like, they accidentally got wrong, and I was like, I think I can improve on this. Well, that's it for now. I guess stay tuned for the next one. Doom Omnibus. I made stir fry for dinner and it kicks ass. Which social media do I think Dr. Doom would use the most? Well, he's not using TikTok very much, that's why I'm here. Probably Facebook. People there are very easily manipulated. Would Doom rather use a glass mug or water bottle? I think Doom's suit handles his hydration. How would Doom react to Dante and Virgil from Devil May Cry? He would think that they bicker like children. And to be fair, they kind of do bicker like children. The whole being part demon thing may make him wary, but again, there are demons in Doom Academy, so he's not entirely anti-demon. But they would need to know their place. And Dante and Virgil are both notoriously bad at knowing their place. How would Doom react to what Doom did to Latveria in One World Under Doom? I don't know. I hope they're cooking something. I hope, like, there's gonna be another really big reveal and it's not just bad writing. Like, I hope this is setting up for, like, a Three Jokers scenario, but better. Like, maybe modern-day politically nuanced Doom versus old-school mad scientist Doom or something like that. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith, but I hope it's good. Does Doom have a set of 5 Doom Lion bots that form a Doom Voltron? Not that I know of, but after reading this comment, he will soon. What would Doom's opinion of Time Lord technology be? Well, you said specifically mainly stuff being bigger on the inside. Doom has a lot of places in Latveria that are bigger on the inside. Marvel does the bigger on the inside thing when it comes to sorcery a lot. Honestly, I think the thing that he would be most interested in is the sonic screwdriver. It's very compact and it seems to do everything. Doom likes that efficiency. Would Doom be interested in a Death Note? I do not think that Doom would think a Death Note is beneath him. Doom has souvenirs from, like, all sorts of gods, so I don't see why this would be any different. Whether or not the side effects apply to him? Not sure. The way Doom's armor protects him is it, like, literally detaches him from the reality he's in. So supposedly, anything that exists in a reality that he shares can't do any harm to him. So yeah, I don't know. Marvel's been very inconsistent with that, to be totally honest, because it's really hard to, do fight scenes where that power is still in effect. As for the side effect of not going to heaven or hell, I mean, Doom just goes there normally, so, like, I don't know, what is he gonna do? Is there gonna be someone, like, stopping him? I think if there was anything that would prevent Doom from doing his yearly Mephisto beatings, I think he would pass. Would Doom bring you to hell to meet his mom if you asked? Probably not. Even if you have no ill intent. Remember, Mephisto is a master manipulator, and normal mortals are one of the things he knows how to manipulate best and a huge source of his power. So bringing you to hell would probably be a liability. How would Doom have to handle working with a team of people with him as the weakest member? Like he's tasked by the one above all to work with Q from Star Trek, Discord from My Little Pony, and Bill Cipher on a group project. Big of you to believe that any of these are above Doom. Remember, Doom has spoken to the one above all. He has summoned the writers themselves and threatened them. Q is a multiversal reality warper, but so is Franklin Richards, and Doom deals with that just fine. Discord from My Little Pony is not as big of a reality warper as Q, so again, I think Doom would be perfectly fine with that. And Bill Cipher is a master manipulator from another dimension that can control reality as well, but that's basically equivalent to Mephisto. So yeah, I don't think Doom is below any of these. And the fact that you do means your local Doombot has been notified. What's Doom's favorite Pokemon game from the Game Boy Color? Pokemon Pinball. I will not elaborate further. If you asked Doom to drink the sun, would he do that? Probably not. If you asked Doom to give me all of his powers, would he? Probably not. Does Doom goon? Doom goons, but he'll never let you know how often. Would Doom eat your poo if it makes you happy? You have problems, dude. Go to therapy. Would Doom accept a suggestion box? Well, the psionic link to all Latvarians is kind of like a suggestion box, but if you're asking, does he take suggestions from his subjects? Yes, he does. Remember, Doom doesn't need to know everything. He just needs to be generally better. He needs to be superior. He's aware that there's probably going to be better architects than them, but he also knows that if that architect was put in one of 1,000 different, world-ending scenarios, and he was put in 1,000 different world-ending scenarios, he'd do a better job. It's not about being better at every individual thing, it's about being superior in general. Why doesn't Doom threaten sports communities to allow Latvarians to play? Basic answer to most of these questions is it doesn't count if it's under threat or mind control. Doom wants people to acknowledge Latveria as superior. If you just put a gun to someone's face, then that doesn't mean a whole lot. If you mind control someone to say that you're superior, that also doesn't mean a whole lot. So there are things Doom will threaten you about. He has no issue threatening any number of countries for any number of small reasons. But at the end of the day, they have to acknowledge Latveria's superiority on their own. What would Doom's thoughts be on the Omnitrix, Azimuth, Ben 10, etc.? I think Ben 10 would be easily manipulatable by Doom. I mean, Ben 10 is a kid and has been manipulated before. I think Doom would take a particular interest in the Omnitrix, though. All faster than light, quantum computer, storage for DNA that can create whole bodies out of it, and plan future evolutions. He'd probably want to pair it with, symbiote tech in some way. Iron Man made that suit out of symbiote. Combining that with the Omnitrix would probably do some pretty interesting stuff. A lot of people have been asking me, what does Doom think of generative AI? I've answered this before. Doom's AI is better. Why would Doom use a worse version of AI? Doom has AI that literally thinks for itself and is an entirely separate sentient being. Generative AI is so far below Doom, it's not even funny. Oh, that's cute. Your AI is generating porn because you're a bit of a pervert and have no morals. My AI is constantly scoping out other realities just in case I need to teleport Latveria there for an emergency. You and I are not the same. I being Doom. Not that I am Doom. Just I in replace for the... You know what I mean. What would Doom think of the Viltrum Empire? You guys inbred yourself into extinction. That's dumb. You're dumb. So Doom and Reed Richards were roommates? They were roommates. Would Doom have a TikTok? If you look around hard enough, you could find Victor Von Doom on TikTok. Doesn't post much. Mostly comments. Honestly, he just supports other creators who talk about him. What's Doom's god tier class spec? Ah yes, the Homestuck is back. Heir of Doom.
Obviously. Being a fighter is a dangerous job. If you were a Latverian firefighter, would he resurrect you if you perished on the job? Yes, Doom has been shown resurrecting Latverians before. So, most likely he would. That's another reason why locking Latverians in, like, an immortal Matrix mind bubble prison is a bad thing, because it's like a fate worse than death. And like in the very same issues of One World Under Doom, it stated that he understands like the resurrection technology from Krakoa. Like, he can resurrect people too. So why is he torturing his own people in these issues? I have no idea. Again, you better have a good fucking explanation for this, Marvel. Would Doom always win at Mario Kart? No, because that game is random as fuck. Doom is a pinnacle of skill, but, you know, blue shells don't care about skill. What is Doom's favorite JRPG? Terranigma. Look it up. Game's amazing and no one ever plays it. Also, like in 2 seconds, you'll see why it's Doom's favorite. Are there Latverian chess players? Yes, and Doom is one of them. People are iffy about taking challenges from him, though. I wonder why. Do combat sports exist in Latveria? Oh yeah, like a ton. Lots of different leagues for lots of different type of people. They're like divided by what superpowers and augments you have. And because of Latverian magical healthcare, it's one of the safest places to practice combat sports. Like you said, Doom can heal any injury after the match. So it's actually canonically one of Latveria's biggest pastimes. And that adds to the image that people outside of Latveria have of Latveria being a barbaric place to live. It's like, look at how these citizens delight in harming each other, except in actuality, it's perfectly safe. If Doom had to choose between being the true leader of the world or truly besting Reed, which would he choose? Definitely truly besting Reed. I mean, he's been the true leader of the world several times, and that hasn't given him any closure. Could you get cyberware like V or David in Cyberpunk in Latveria? Oh, Latverian cyberware is way better than the cyberware in Cyberpunk. The whole point of Cyberpunk is you can't win. Like, in a capitalist society that controls you that much, you can't ever win. Even when you try to better yourself, you only make things worse. You don't go cyber psycho in Latveria. It actually, like, work and not fuck up your body or mind. As long as, you know, you understand that Doom is superior. Who do I main in Melee? Marth. Do I really think Doom would play Ices instead of a character with a higher skill ceiling like Fox? I think Doom will do whatever it takes to win. Hence, wobbling. What kind of band would Doom be in and what position would he play? Well, as I said in previous videos, he's an accomplished pianist. So, like, it would probably be an orchestra, to be totally honest. But if he was in, like, a rock band, I'm getting bassist vibes. The underappreciated role that ties the whole band together. If Doom got isekai'd, would he focus more on getting home or supporting his new world? He would focus on getting home. Doom has already been transported to multiple different realities, and he always tries to get home because his home and his Latveria comes first, above all else in the multiverse. Does Latveria have a foreign student exchange program? Yes, although I'm not entirely sure how it works. They've been kind of one-off jokes in the comics, right? Presumably, if you use Latveria's education system and did not show gratitude to Doom, there would be a problem. Do I think that Doom would respect Maruki in the world that he made in Persona 5? No, he would not, because again, it doesn't count if you're mind controlled. You have to admit that Doom has made the world better of your own free will, and Maruki didn't do that. Doom Omnibus number 8675309. I tried to do this joke back when I did Doom Omnibus number -1, but I lost the whole recording, so that's why that one ended up being -1. If Doom has narcissism, how would he feel about other narcissists or people with ASPD or similar? Honestly, it's just gonna be a matter of whether or not they end up getting in Doom's way. Doom, and you know, the whole universal Latverian healthcare thing, like, he understands other people are narcissists. So, like, he likely is able to tell in everyone but himself. Welcome Doom bots, I never said that. The question is, are you going to, like, actually pose a problem for Dr. Doom? Is your narcissism going to cause a problem with other Latverians or Dr. Doom? Essentially, do you have your shit under control or not? And if not, Latverian mental health care. And if not enough that it puts someone in danger, probably the end of a photon array. Does Doom love anyone aside from himself? Well, he does in fact love Valeria Von Doom. I know it says Richards, I know what I said. And you should go watch Sir Superhero's long-form video all about it. How much fourth wall breaking does Doom do?
Doom has broken the fourth wall several times. He's threatened the writers a couple times. He's broken the fourth wall in Gwenpool. He's made it very clear that he just considers the fourth wall to be like another dimension. He's traveled between dimensions and other worlds plenty of times, and being told that he's a creation of someone else doesn't particularly matter to him because so many people have claimed that they're the creation of X God or Y God, and Doom believes himself to be above all of them. So in short, Doom doesn't break the fourth wall much, even though he's able to, because he considers it tacky. Would Doom what? Fucking what? I'm not even making a Doombot notified joke. Shut up. I think I'm gonna block you now. I'm gonna make this very clear. We don't joke about that shit on this channel. Period. I am a survivor, and that shit is not a fucking joke. Time for a fucking palate cleanser. Ugh, has Doom named a successor? Like, does he even designate which Doombot or child should step in for him if he's ever incapacitated? His son, Kristoff, is his official heir. Kristoff is adopted, by the way. So should something happen to Doom, and however many clones or like pieces of himself he stores in people's minds or in extra dimensions or so on and so forth, on the very, very slim chance that all of Doom's fail-safes and backups and plans and whatever were destroyed, then Kristoff would be the rightful ruler of Latveria. Do insurance companies exist in Latveria? No. There's no need to profit off risk. You just get assisted, like by Doombots or your fellow Latverians. You're not caught up. Is Val the second child to Reed and Sue? And does she have power like Franklin? Well, you should watch Sir Superhero's YouTube video all about Valeria Von Doom. I know what I said. Surprised we haven't hit part 8675309 yet. Thank you for reminding me of my failed joke. Who wants to die the least, Sun Wukong or Doom? Good question. Good question. I don't think Doom fears death. I mean, considering, like, he walked into hell, beat the shit out of Mephisto so bad that Lady Death said, "Alright, you need to stop, come with me," and then he was alive again. I'm not entirely sure death means a lot to him, but like Sun Wukong is the same deal? Oh, this is tough. I mean, neither of them particularly want to die, and if either of them do die, it's not going to be for long. I'm going to say Sun Wukong probably wants to die the least, because at least Doom has like a successor plan, which means he's at least putting death in the realm of possibility, which I don't think Sun Wukong is. Love your videos, but you think a billion lions can be Goku or Superman. A billion lions can be whatever they want to be, and so can you. Believe in yourself, you giant universe-defying ball of lion mass. Dr. Doom is almost a kid's cartoon villain, and that's almost wholesome. Yeah, as I said before, that's what I like about Doom. Like, some things about Doom are just goofy. Like that time he decreed that all Latverian children need to get a good night's sleep so that Valeria would get a good night's sleep. That time, instead of flying or portaling into a room, Spider-Man said he could use the door, and his response was, "The door? Like a peasant?" Dr. Doom is goofy sometimes. He's also terrifying. Like the goofy things like the Latverian Express card are canon. All of this just adds to why I love Doom. Stan Lee said when he was creating Doom, he wanted to create something like the Grim Reaper. Like a force of the universe, but then also make it human. I'd say he did a pretty good job. How can we be sure that I'm not Doom under a polymorph spell? Because my apartment isn't clean. Doom would never tolerate this shit. We know Doom is chill with Spider-Man, but do we know how he would be with the superior Spider-Man? Less chill. Most people are less chill with the superior Spider-Man. Doc Ock isn't exactly known for his budding social circle. What would Doom think of Gabriel from Ultra Kill? He'd probably think that the design is crude. The ability to, essentially rebel against heaven and hell, he'd be all for that. Does Latveria have a rugby team? I mean, they have universities and white people, so I have to believe that the answer is yes. If a child goes up to Doom and says he wants to be as great or greater than Doom when he grows up, would Doom encourage the child or caution the child and tell him to stay in his own role? Honestly, that's going to depend on the child and how annoyed Doom is on any given day. Like, aspiring to be Doom-like is a compliment to Doom. He's taken it that way. Again, he's a guy. He's a very intelligent guy. He's gonna know that, a child isn't actually planning to, usurp him. So, he'd probably encourage them. If they got close, then he'd caution them, but he'd probably encourage them. Would Doom allow judicial process for any Latvarian that was in another country for legitimate crimes? Or does every citizen have diplomatic immunity internationally? Every citizen does have diplomatic immunity, and honestly, it's gonna depend on the crime. If Doom thinks it's a crime, then he'll leave his citizen to rot. If Doom doesn't think it's a crime, then, well, Doombots may be coming. What's my opinion on the goofification of Doom in the LEGO games? Everybody gets goofified in the LEGO games. No skin off my back. No skin off Doom's back either. Fun for the whole family. So how would Doom react to a white supremacist using him as a sign that they are superior because Doom is Caucasian? Doom is Romani, and he will likely kill them. He will kill they ass. That's what he did in One World Under Doom. He killed they ass. That's what he did when he took Latveria back from Nazi control. He killed they ass. The answer is he killed they ass. Doom does not fuck with white supremacists. What's Doom's favorite anime? I'm gonna say Eden of the East. You have pseudo-infinite resources. Make the world a better place or perish. Something about that feels very Doom. Would Doom have any interest in the Stargate? Probably not. Doom has plenty of ways to, move huge distances and jump between dimensions and timelines and stuff. It just feels like it would be cumbersome. How would Doom react if I told him a Yo Mama joke, but it was, really funny? He'd probably laugh. And then, subsequently, your local Doombot would be notified. Was Doom's face injury really just a tiny scar? Again, this is something that canon has fucked with a lot. Here we have it, tiny scar, he's upset, puts on the armor too quick, falls into the snow. But, again, that's something that's changed a lot. It's also been told as he was horribly disfigured. It's also been told that he wasn't injured at all. It's just a piece of canon that changes a whole lot. It's one of those things that, Doom never makes clear himself. So it's almost like the Joker's origin, right? People know that sometimes Doom's face is scarred, and sometimes Doom's face is not scarred, and the exact history behind it is always going to be murky. Would Doom like apples or oranges more? Or would he make a fruit and name it after himself and make it the best fruit? I'm sure that Latveria has experimented with fruit genetics, but I'm just going to say that Doom gives me an apple vibe. Not entirely sure why. Would Doom main himself in all of the Marvel fighting games, even when he's not top tier? I struggle to think of a Marvel fighting game in which Doom wasn't top tier. Okay, he's not one of the gods in Marvel 2, but he was considered top tier. In Marvel Superheroes, he was a boss character. In Marvel 3, he was in a lot of top tier teams, what with Foot Dive, Foot Dive, Foot Dive, Foot Dive, Foot Dive, Foot Dive. Yeah, I don't know. He's been reasonably top tier in most of the Marvel fighting games. I suppose if Marvel Tokon comes out and he's not top tier, he may not play himself. And also the local Doombots of Arc System Works will be notified. Would Doom react to something similar to a Spider Sona, but for Doom, like a Doom Sona? Oh, he loves that shit. Doom Academy, everyone's got their little Doom costume. The Seven Daggers of Latveria all have, Doom costume. Kristoff's got his own Doom costume. The grown-up version of Valeria from an alternate timeline has a Fantastic Four plus Doom costume combo. Fuck it, make your Doom Sona. It'd be awesome. I want to see it. In previous videos, I mentioned that Doom demands that Latvarians contribute to society. What is his standard for that? It's fairly simple. First, do not be a detriment to society, which means don't harm your fellow Latvarian, and do not cause the material conditions for your fellow Latvarian to become worse. Beyond that, live your best life. You will, naturally, via the course of your own living, make the world better just by living it. Hell, even if all you did was sit inside and play video games, you're providing competition for other Latvarians. Basically, the first thing you have to do is not harm your fellow man. And after that, it's basically help if you can. But even if you don't help, there's Doombots. We're all gonna be fine. Just live your best life. Surprise! Doom Omnibus! Would Doom hate Sukuna? Probably. Sukuna isn't, good for the world, so that's strike one. Sukuna also believes that he's the pinnacle of cursed power. That's kinda strike two. And come on, you know Sukuna's gonna take a swing at Doom. Sukuna takes a swing at everyone, and that's strike three. Not related, but what's my favorite Pokemon? Joltik Supremacy! No idea if it's been asked, but what if Doom did find someone who's better than him? That isn't Reed. Would it change anything if it's one of his variants? Doom has let most of his variants live. There is even a famous scene where he met a variant who brought about world peace. Unfortunately, that variant insulted Doom's drip. Variant Doom is actually talking some sense into Doom here. I know it sounds repugnant now, but everything about you is a denial of a giant wound within your soul. Your tyranny, your lust for power,
your face. And Doom is cool with all of those things. But then Variant Doom says, even your ridiculous armor. To which Doom goes, ridiculous! And then destroys that variant's entire timeline. Don't insult Doom's drip. What is the national dish of Latveria? I think this is canon. I think it's cabbage rolls. Would Doom offer free trans healthcare in Latveria? Well, that's where this series of videos started, so yeah. What would he do if one of his citizens was discriminated against outside of Latveria? He would notify their local Doombot. Which is weird, because then the Doombot's just gonna notify him, so it feels like it's not strictly necessary. Anyway, someone's gonna die. Would Doom be okay with the Phantom Thief? No. Not at all. The Phantom Thieves are basically doing a form of mind control, and Doom deeply believes that mind control means it doesn't count. You're not changing their hearts, you're just manipulating their mind. Doom prefers far more direct methods. Does Doom know how to properly dap up someone? Does Doom know how to properly dap up someone? What do I think is Doom's favorite flavor of Mountain Dew? Honestly, I think he's a classic green guy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Does Doom care about having capable subordinates, or does he believe everyone's so below him it doesn't matter anymore? He cares about his subordinates being capable, mostly because he cares about not wasting his time. Like, you have to be as good or better than a Doombot. If you're not as good or better than a Doombot, then don't even bother volunteering. He understands the worth in people, and he wants people to, pursue whatever life they feel that they want to live. But if you want to be one of his subordinates, you better be given your 110%. So I'm saying all you need to do is see Doom as your god and everything will be taken care of? No, no, no. Doom is not a god. Doom is a man. Doom is Doom. He is above your gods, and you need to remember that. Most disability would be a non-issue in Latveria. Yeah, this is basically true. Like you said, disability is disabling because society isn't accessible, but Doom can magic up any sort of accessibility he wants. So Latveria is definitely one of the most, accessible countries for people who would be disabled in other countries. How does Doom feel about recreational drugs? I have really just gotten too much use out of this panel. Would Lord Beerus's Hawkeye get rid of all of Doom? That is a good question. The question is, does Hawkeye work across, dimensional boundaries? And I would say it doesn't. Because he Hakkai's Zamasu, right? But that doesn't get rid of the Zamasu that they're trying to get rid of, because he's wearing the time ring which detaches him from reality. And that's what Doom's armor does. It detaches him from reality. So then if Beerus killed a Doom, he probably would not kill all of Doom for the same reason. Does Latveria have its own version of PBS? And if so, what's their version of Sesame Street like? Honestly, the Latverian version of Sesame Street is just our Sesame Street, but with funding. How does Doom store all of his knowledge? Computers. I wish I had a more flashy answer for you, but it's really just that. You love how whenever it's any other sport, it's about how Latveria is banned from international play, but when it comes to rugby and lacrosse, it's just, well, there's white people in college. Yeah, man, it's just like rowing, or fencing, or fraternities. The primordial rules of college life, Doom does not fuck with. Do Latverians have choice of care? Yeah, well, they have choice of how they want to approach any given situation. Let's say someone was paraplegic, someone didn't have use of their legs. They may not want to magically get use of their legs back. If so, they have choices. Do you want a cool technological wheelchair? Do you want the power of flight? Do you want to just get rid of the legs altogether and slither around on a serpent's tail? Do you want robot legs? Do you want tank treads? Or you want to just, exist in your wheelchair as is and have a couple more ramps? It's your choice, that's all I'm saying. How would Doom deal with Saitama? Money. What type of sandwich does Doom typically eat? Strikes me as a Reuben guy. I don't know why. How do Doom and Loki get on? Asking as a Loki cosplayer/fan. Well, good news for you. While they have had their, let's say, misunderstandings in the past, Doom and Femloki did have a dinner together. And they did get on, if you know what I mean. And what I mean is, giant, terrible, soul-sucking fire. But it only killed Doom's servants. Now they tolerate each other. Universities and white people also heavily implies pickleball. Fuck, I forgot the pickleball. My local Doombot has been notified. Does Victor like fair food, like those giant turkey legs or funnel cake? First of all, you're not on a first-name basis with him. Your local Doombot has been notified. Second of all, I think he probably likes some fair food, but there's gonna be a barrier, right? Dr. Doom might fuck up a deep-fried Oreo, but he's probably not going to be caught eating deep fried butter on a stick. The question is, can he look respectable while eating it? Which I think you can with turkey legs or funnel cake, and can't for like a burger between two donuts. Do you need a Metro card to ride the Doom Omnibus? Nope, public transportation in Latveria is free. Can you get a simplified BlazBlue plot video? No. Not even Doom can simplify the BlazBlue plot. Anyway, thanks for watching. We are $50 away from the next stretch goal in my Patreon. Thank you guys all for your support. Even $1 helps. Check out my link tree to follow me on all my other socials, and check out my sponsor item label. Take care of cool plushies like this guy. Without them, I definitely couldn't be doing this. Doom approves this message. Doom Omnibus. Because it's been a while. Do I think Doom would be mad at Raz from Psychonauts? He always asks first to answer minds and its actual mental issues. Well, Raz doesn't always ask first. Let's be honest with ourselves here. But honestly, like, I don't think it's so much that Dr. Doom, like, goes around, like, hunting down or actively being mad at people who have some sort of mind change or mind control powers. It's just that he himself doesn't see the value in it. And that largely comes from his background as being part of a culture that was, oppressed underneath, the funny mustache man. Anyone can be coerced into saying whatever you want, which is why it doesn't count unless they actually believe it. Why would Doom deal with Saitama with money rather than food and shelter? Honestly, food and shelter, he'd likely offer it, but it takes more time than money. If Saitama was causing a problem, Saitama understands the language of cash. He's not gonna, sit Saitama down and explain, an anarcho-syndicalist communist society. He's gonna throw a bag of, Latverian francs in his face. What is pickleball? You're white, but you've never played it, and you don't know anyone who has. Is it a rich people thing? Yeah. It's like halfway between tennis and table tennis. You use a big paddle and a rubber ball to hit shit over a tennis net. How would Dr. Victor Von Doom react to the World of Darkness's magic systems? First of all, careful. You're not on a first-name basis. Your local Doombot something. Second of all, it depends on the magic system. He definitely would be interested in mage spheres. I mean, that's basically choose your own reality warping, right? Vampires, not much that they could offer him that he can't already get. Same deal with werewolves, same deal with wraiths. Honestly, aside from mages, there's probably not a lot that he's interested in other than demons. Demons are very closely linked with, the very fabric of reality, and Doom has a history. I do not think that Dr. Doom would be part of the technocracy, though, because, he'd have to submit to their hierarchy. And he's better than that. You're not on a first-name basis with him, but does anyone get away with calling him Victor or Vic? Valeria Richards does. Good old Uncle Vic. What do I think about the idea of Doom played by Mads Mikkelsen? I think it would be amazing. I think that Mads Mikkelsen can absolutely capture Victor Von Doom. And if he's not too busy going on dates with Hideo Kojima, then yeah, you should fucking net him. Better than Robert Downey Jr. Doom gets reincarnated as an animal. What animal is it? He gets reincarnated as Doom. Man is the most dangerous animal. Hawkeye is not pronounced Hawkeye. The purpose of language is to communicate. You knew what I said. Your local Doombot has been notified. In the very off chance that Doom perishes, do all of his changes stay permanent? Yes, Dr. Doom is not a load-bearing boss. The spells and technomagic and stuff that he does, it's just done. It doesn't get reverted if he dies. It's not even like an ongoing enchantment or anything. It's just a physical change, usually. But it's not even like someone could counterspell it. They'd have to revert it through traditional means. Why is public transport in Latveria buses? It's not just buses. They have a metro. They have teleportation portals. They have a network of, flying cars and shit that take you to sky islands. I mean, any working public transportation system will have multiple methods of transportation. Take your pick. Doom is the most Arc System Works coded character that's not made by ArcSys. But what would he do if he was in an ArcSys world like BlazBlue or Guilty Gear? Guilty Gear's easy. He's going to the backyard. The fucking, source code of the universe? Yeah, he's there. You would see Asuka in Happy Chaos and be like, I'm better than these nerds. What would he do in the BlazBlue universe? Well, that would include having to understand the plot of BlazBlue. Which, Central Games, I'm okay, but there has been so much extra content at this point. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
If Doom was in BlazBlue, he'd make the plot make sense. Does Doom sleep with the armor on, or does he not sleep? Or does he microsleep? Doom does not need to sleep. In fact, Doom doesn't need to eat. The armor provides basically everything that sustains his life. But he still does eat, and he still does sleep. Because it feels good. Though you won't catch him sleeping in any instance in which he's not 100% safe. Oftentimes, this is in his armor, on his throne, brooding. I mean, if he's just sitting there with his hands folded, are you gonna check if he's awake? Doombot notified and all that. Do I think Doom has ever come across Doomslayer? I've done, how would they interact before. They would basically be allies. Doom likes anyone who, will kill a demon or two. Has he come across him? Well, an official Marvel, probably not. And I'm fairly certain that the hell that the Doomslayer goes through is different than Mephisto's dimension, which is the hell that Doom always goes to. But I mean, I don't know, give them each other's number. They can make an outing out of it. Can you please be a UN ambassador for Latveria? That would require Latveria to be part of the UN. Actually, I do think Latveria is a part of the UN in the comics, which is weird, They're kept out of international sports, but not out of the UN. Anyway, point is, you can't ask me. Gotta ask Doom. And Doom is the current UN ambassador for Latveria, so the answer's probably not. If the Latverian started thinking particularly anti-Doom thoughts, would the psionic link let him know? Yeah. And if so, would he kick them out of Latveria for it? I mean, no. If the psionic link alerted Doom that someone was plotting to overthrow him, he would probably just kill him. You don't get kicked out of Latveria. You die. Would Doom want a Keyblade? Interesting question. He would certainly want the powers of a Keyblade. I mean, the ability to just cast Power Word Open on anything you want. It's pretty important. But he would only accept a Keyblade if it looked awesome. Like if it matched his armor. He's not putting up with any Kingdom Key bullshit. Respect the drip, or your timeline gets annihilated. If Doom discovered cursed energy, what would his technique be? Interesting question. I am a big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, but I have no idea what his cursed technique would be, because cursed techniques don't really have a whole lot of rhyme or reason. Like, why is Sukuna's domain expansion all about cutting shit? People just sort of have cursed techniques. Like it doesn't even seem to follow their personality. So I have no idea. Something to do with kneeling before Doom. I don't know. Jujutsu Kaisen fans, help me out here. Would Doom see the Doctor as a threat? Here's the thing that a lot of people who are commenting on these videos don't quite understand. Doom isn't a big fan of preemptive strikes. Like, there are tons of threats in the Marvel Universe, like Galactus, like the Beyonders, like Adam Warlock. Doom lets them go about doing their thing. Because even if you are a threat, if you are not actively threatening Doom or Latveria, then the best thing to do is let you do your thing. So as long as the Doctor doesn't pose an immediate threat to Latveria, or I mean the whole timeline, then Dr. Doom isn't going to do anything about it. He's very pragmatic like that. Would Doom want the Death Note? He'd probably want to research it. He'd definitely use it. I mean, hell, I'd definitely use it. But also, I don't think he'll become dependent on it. Like, he'd use it because he'd want to experiment with it. For the most part, if Doom wants you dead, you're dead. No Death Note required. As a Latverian, is there any fear that the Utopia could collapse without Doom? Possibly. I mean, we're very lucky that Doom is immortal several times over. But, like, if it fell to Kristoff, maybe he wouldn't do a great job leading Latveria. But, like, then you'd have to have anxieties about Doom, like, failing. And you're not thinking about Doom failing, are you? You wouldn't like that. Imagine Jim Henson with Doom funding for just a second. Doom would be so down to be on Sesame Street. But I think Doom would let Frieren teach him Zoltrak. I think Doom never prevents anyone from teaching him anything. More knowledge is always better. The question would be, is she willing to teach it? And honestly, if we're at the part where Doom's asking to learn, she better be. If Doom does drugs, does he get high? Yeah. I mean, yeah. He does do drugs and he does get high. Wouldn't that make him vulnerable? I mean, yeah, but whatever. Doom's been vulnerable in other situations. He's taken off his armor to eat a taco. The whole point is that even when vulnerable, Doom is superior to you. If Doom's taking a trip, I mean, he's gonna plan for it. Do I think Robert Downey Jr. will do a good job with Doom? No. Also, your local Doombot has been notified. What would even happen if you notify your local Doombot on yourself? I don't know. My local Doombot has been notified about my local Doombot being notified. Things are getting a little too meta. Does Doom have any interactions with Moon Girl? Not much, but he really doesn't like that Moon Girl is the smartest there is. Anyway, Doom attempted to, prove his intellectual superiority with the Doombot, and Moon Girl took the Doombot and reprogrammed it. Now it just kind of chills in her place. I would describe Doom's relationship with her as reserving acceptance. You thought I forgot about this series, but there's always more to talk about Doom. There is a pleasant thunderstorm outside, which means Doom Omnibus number 58, let's go! Do you think Doom would try and get Bruce Wayne to come to Latveria? The big problem with Doom and Bruce Wayne is a capitalist, and Doom is very anti-capitalist. Doom does not like billionaires because he believes that they're pretenders to the throne. Now, would Doom go out of his way to make Bruce Wayne give up his dollar bills, y'all? Not sure, really. In the Marvel Universe, there's plenty of billionaires that Doom just has disdain for, so he'd probably also have disdain for Bruce. He'd dig Batman, though. I mean, Doom beats everything, primarily cares about Latveria. Batman beats everything, primarily cares about Gotham. Same character, different packaging, But yeah, Bruce would be the part that Doom hates the most about Batman. Will I ever get tired of talking about Doom? As long as there are new questions, I'm happy to keep doing this. This is fun. Though a lot of the comments that I get are kind of being repeat questions at this point, so I'm filtering those out and trying to only do new ones. And that means that the omnibuses are coming out a little bit later. But remember, I post other content too, political content, science content. I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. Has Doom and Reed Richards' IQ been published canonically? As of current Marvel publishing, they are both considered super genius level, which means that they cannot be quantified by IQ, which is great because IQ is a bullshit stat anyway. IQ tests are racist. Look it up. Does Doom have his own fursona? Look, all I'm gonna say is he is really into that T-Rex version of himself. Like, look at this shit. It's fucking awesome. And it's another multiversal variant of Doom that Doom hasn't incinerated yet, so, my money is on T-Rex. It's probably T-Rex. Not that I think he'd ever admit it publicly, of course. What would Doom's opinion of Sans Undertale be? Funny little skeleton man. Definitely isn't as funny as he thinks he is. But I mean, he'd like him better than Sans Deltarune, because Sans Deltarune fucked your mom. And Doom has feelings about that. Do Doom and Moon Knight get along? Nah, unfortunately, I couldn't find one single panel of the two of them being chill. And I think they've only interacted like twice. So yeah, Moon Knight doesn't make Santa's nice list. What would Dr. Doom's Nen ability / specialty be if he was in Hunter x Hunter? Lotvarians say the X. Anyway, I would answer this question, but a mutual of mine, Ravi, does a thing called Ravi's Nen Services, and I think he could probably answer it better than I can. So, hey Ravi, tagging you down in the comments, what would Dr. Doom's Nen ability / specialty be? Also go follow him, he makes great content. And because Doom said so. Would a Doombot sit and talk with you if you needed someone? Yeah, they would. Every time a Doombot, escapes Dr. Doom's control, they're perfectly capable of empathy. And Doombots within Dr. Doom's control are capable of empathy. So, if you just needed someone to talk to, you can talk to your local Doombot. And if you need someone right now, your local Doombot has been notified. What if Reed Richards slipped on a banana peel and died? Doom would become very suspicious of that peel. Probably have an existential crisis or two, make sure that his armor protects him from banana peel slipping, and then go about making world peace. That's probably it. Has Dr. Doom tanked a retcon? I mean, Dr. Doom has faced off against the Beyonder and won multiple times, so, does that count? He's also survived the death of, the universe. I'm trying to think if he specifically tanked, a retcon. And I don't know, he's more likely to harness the retcon, it was only a Doombot. He has threatened authors to write him in a particular way, breaking the fourth wall. Does that count? If it was a retcon already in progress, I don't think Doom has let himself get into that position, so we don't know.
But, you know, with his armor detaching him from reality and all that, like, if it operates like any other reality warper, he should be fine. But, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna say we probably don't know. Would Doom be mad if you wrote a fic about him being made bald by the witch who makes people bald? Well, Doom has been bald before, and the witch who makes people bald always makes them unhappy, and that's Doom's secret. He's never happy. If Doom had a child and said child disagreed with things Doom does, what do you think Doom would do? Kill him? What, you asked? If Doom is his own stand, would his stand be named after the Doom song from Invader Zim? I've also heard people suggest the Latvian national anthem. Clearly his stand is named after At Doom's Gate from the Doom soundtrack by Mick Gordon. Play it. You'll see what I mean. Would I love you if you were Dr. Doom? I mean, I'd have to, right? It's compulsory. But if Dr. Doom turned me into a worm, I probably wouldn't love you anymore. I'd still love Doom, though. He probably had a good damn reason for turning you into a worm. You wonder what Doom thinks about God like the Big G? He definitely thinks God is inferior to him. Definitely. There's nothing in this universe or beyond that Doom thinks that he cannot overcome. Except Reed Richards. And conditionally Squirrel Girl. Especially after his stint as God Emperor Doom. This is the panel everyone keeps referencing. I was a god, Valeria, and I found it beneath me. Basically, Doom is a scientist, and he believes that if there's a greater power in the multiverse, you gotta prove it first. And so far, all the gods that he's met have been kinda whack. Would Doom respect or research the Toon Force? He's researched the Toon Force because he's researched Howard the Duck. Does he respect it? I don't think so. Clashes with his image a little bit too much. Do Doombots have Sandveston? Doom's tech is better than a Sandy. Trust me here. I mean, honestly, Sandys aren't even that good. Like, by the role-playing game stats, it's just a +3 to initiative. Doom can do better than that. Anyway, that's it for this Omnibus. Subscribe to my Patreon or Doom will incinerate you. Doom Omnibus number 375. Let's go. Are some Doombots, like, obviously bots, or are they all, like, near-perfect versions of Doom? Nah, some Doombots look like bots, and some Doombots look like Doom. The point is, as far as you're concerned, if something looks like Doom, address it as Doom. If a Doombot otherwise does not specifically look like Doom, then it's clear it's there to serve another purpose, and you could address it as a Doombot. Why do I say Wakanda would be a better place to live than Latveria? Obviously, that would only be for educational purposes only for any local Doombots listening. Wakanda isn't an enemy to, like, every other nation on the globe. That pretty much covers it. What is Doom's favorite movie? Well, we've already established he's a Trekkie, so Good Money is on Star Trek 4. But between you and me, I think he cries after The Fault in Our Stars. Did Thor have to wear a wedding dress to get Mjolnir back from Doom? No, and sadly, they've never interpreted this part of the mythology in the comics whatsoever, which is a huge missed opportunity. Chris Hemsworth in a wedding dress? I mean, sign me up. How did Doom win an Olympic gold medal? Like I said before, he's an Olympic gymnast, so my guess is gymnastics. Not to be confused with Alexander Doom, who is a real dude from Belgium, who won golds in the 400-meter relay. Now, this guy's cool, but Dr. Doom does gymnastics. What would Doom have on his Pokemon team? Ooh, this is a nice one. Let's get this out of the way. Eternatus G-Max, I mean, it's the highest stat total in Pokemon. He'd take it because it's the best. Armarouge for his armor. Mismagius for his magic and his connection to, you know, the dead and hell. I hate to put another legendary on the team, but Arceus, because if something claims to be God, Doom will not hesitate to step up and say, you're beneath me. Rotom, because it could easily possess any of his Doombots or other Magitech. And last but not least, a single, unevolved Eevee, because it's just a guy. Has Doom ever gambled in the comics? Not that I've seen. Doom doesn't gamble. He knows when his plans succeed. What would Doom think of Kamen Rider Decade or Kamen Rider Geats? Like, the show or the Kamen Rider? As far as the show goes, I mean, you know Doom has to be into, like, some tokusatsu, right? Like, considering his full body armor, right? As far as the heroes go, though, I don't think they could give him any power that Doom doesn't already have. Sorry. How does Doom shave? I'm fairly certain that one time he put his mask on when it was still hot metal has burned off all the hair follicles of his face.
Doom is above shaving. If Doom was the GM of your TTRPG, would he fudge rolls behind the screen or roll in the open? He would absolutely fudge rolls. Doom's campaign can only be the perfect campaign, and it is foolish to allow major story beats up to chance. So we know that Doom is Romani, but he's devoted to Latveria. How does he feel about his ancestral culture? He's very attached to it. He does, in fact, sing Romani songs. He does, in fact, partake in Romani traditions. He doesn't see it as baggage at all. He finds that it honors his heritage, it honors his mother. But Doom was also a victim of someone who preached racial superiority over the Romani, so he does not force Romani customs onto the people of Latveria. But he himself does celebrate it. Would Doom power build in D&D, or would he play the game normally? First of all, Doom is a forever DM. Second of all, if he was a player, he would absolutely min-max. But Doom prefers rules like games anyway. What would Doom think about Gomez Adams? I mean, it's pretty cool that Gomez Adams is trying to give away all his money. And the Adams family is, super into consent, so, he wouldn't have a problem with any of their weird, kinky tendencies. Yeah, he'd probably be cool with them living in Latveria. They dig the whole Eastern European Gothic vibe, I think. I often say, in Doom's Latveria, which implies there's a Latveria without Doom. Well, there was a Latveria without Doom. Pre-Doom. In the 14th century, Rudolfo Hassan and Karl Hassan, in the Marvel Universe, captured territory from Transylvania and made it Latveria. Prior to Doom's rule, the ruler of Latveria was, oh boy, Vladimir Vasily Gonero Tristian Mangenji Fortunov, Baron of Sabat, Baron of Hassan, Baron of Krozy. Well, that was a name. Anyway, during World War II, Vlad allied with the Funny Mustache Man and used the Funny Mustache Man's policies to rule Latveria under Funny Mustache Man supporter rules, which meant persecution of the Romani, which led to Doom's mom making the deal with Mephisto, which led to eventually Doom taking over Latveria. And that's why Doom always specifies Doom's Latveria, because, before it was Doom's Latveria, it was a Yahtzee-controlled country. So, need to reform the image. So I want to point out this comment because it points something out. Doom thinks the Maker, which is an alternate version of Reed Richards, is pathetic. It is not that Doom sees himself inferior to all Reed Richards. It is that Doom sees himself inferior to exactly the 616 Reed Richards. Doom has met the Council of Reeds before and thinks he is above all of them, especially since the way they handled their Dooms was by, lobotomy before he had a chance to grow up. It is, in fact, Reed's family that makes him what he is. And it is, in fact, Reed's family that makes Doom have an inferiority complex to him. Without that, he's just another person to conquer. So random, but what's my profile pic from? So I don't just talk about comics, I also work in comics. I work with a Chilean comic book artist, Oscar Cabrera, to translate and localize his comics into English. Some of the comics are spicy, other comics are normal. But anyway, he has a whole world full of mutants. I really like spiders. I'm non-binary, so I made this Spider-Girl avatar. And that's kind of how I'm represented in his comic world. That's also why I tried dyeing my hair red that one time, and it didn't really stick. Does Doom ever use Doombots or his military to combat global warming? Yeah, he has full control of the weather in Latveria, and that technology could be yours if you secede your territory to Latveria. Is Doom aware of the fourth wall and the fact that he's a fictional character? Yeah, I did 2 videos on this already. Doom has been to the writer's room of Marvel and blackmailed Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. In more recent days, he got into gutter space while facing off with Gwenpool and was like, this means nothing to me. I am still superior here. Can you cosplay as Doom? Absolutely. Doom loves the idea of there being as many people that can be mistaken as him as possible, hence the Doombots. So he actively encourages Doom cosplay. Just another fall guy to blame failures on. What if you were a mutant whose mutant powers were super intelligent that was measurably higher than that of Doom's? Well, first of all, there does get to be an intelligence level that is considered unmeasurable, and both Doom and Reed Richards are in it, so measurably higher doesn't mean anything. But second of all, you wouldn't be in danger. Doom doesn't want to be smarter than you. Doom does not want to be better than you in all things. Doom just wants to be better than you. Doom believes that given any amount of resources that he is given, he could do a better job than you with the resources that you have. Doom knows he is not the greatest at each individual thing. He is just the greatest. Could you kill somebody and get away with it? I'm Assuming you mean in Latveria. If not Latveria, please seek help. And no, the Doom bots would get you in Latveria. No. I'm disturbed. You have a mutant OC whose power is to manipulate matter at the atomic level, so on and so forth. He openly admits Doom is among the people who are smarter than him. How does Doom feel about the guy? Doom is friends and family with Franklin Richards, who can alter the very fundament of the universe. Doom has stared, extraplanar entities that can unwrite him in the face before and not flinch. So, how cool is your OC? Is he chill? Does he play board games? How does Doom feel about fan fiction of Reed Richards? I'm not at liberty to talk about that without the Doom bots getting angry, but check the Latverian Digital Library. There's, surprisingly a lot. Dr. Doom question, why does Doom have gun? Doom has gun because gun is good form factor for shoot thing. It's just that he often shoots different things, like lasers, psychic energy, electricity, butter. How does Doom feel about Darwin the Mutant? I don't think they've interacted. Darwin's ability is to adapt, so the best strategy for Doom is just ignore him. What do I consider Doom's greatest feats? Measuring ability in feats is below Doom. Since Doom can access gutter space, does that mean he can come to our reality but doesn't want to? Yes, but also no. Remember, and this is a really obscure poll, our reality in the Marvel Universe is called Earth 1218. It's like a black hole multiverse where anything fantastical that goes there immediately loses all their memories and all their powers and can never escape. And the only window that our universe has into other realities is through artistic works, like comic books. Every other portrayal of our reality in the Marvel Universe is a reality that is very close to our reality, but isn't exactly Earth 1218. So for example, when Doom went to the writer's room with Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, that obviously didn't happen in our real world, so that didn't happen in Earth 1218. It happened in something very close to Earth 1218. So yes, Doom can come to Earth 1218, but wouldn't because he'd immediately lose all his powers and become Victor, the guy down the street with a Pomeranian. And that's a fate worse than death.
So TikTok gave me the ability to record 10-minute videos. Gonna make them regret it. Here's 10 minutes of answering unanswered questions from my drafts, brought to you by Item Label, the same people who gave me this cool hoodie, link in my bio. How hard and fast would you have to pee to cut the Earth in half? Well, believe it or not, we've estimated this. You would need energy the equivalent of about 7.5 billion tons of TNT. Now that would be if you peed that all at once. Basically a pee explosion. You could apply that energy in multiple ways. For example, instead of applying a bunch of energy all at once, you could expend a little bit of energy over a long period of time. Which means if you were immortal, and the sun never swallowed the Earth, and the geological processes of the Earth never ended up filling up your progress, and time never came to an end, you could cut the Earth in half eventually just by peeing at your normal rate for quintillions upon quintillions upon quintillions of years. Better get started. You heard the drug war was horrible for our economy. Is there any truth to that? Most experts agree, yes. I mean, for one, we have not seen a substantial drop in drug use since the war on drugs started. Marijuana is still illegal in most states, not here in good old Jersey, and people have been talking about it like it's commonplace. So all that money invested into anti-drug propaganda has basically gone down the drain, and it's not an insubstantial amount of money. Also, there's the lost opportunity costs. Remember, everything you buy is taxed. So whenever someone buys a drug illegally, that's money that your local government doesn't make, which can't be reinvested into your community. And historically, we've been here before with Prohibition. It had a ripple effect on that economy at the time, too. Money was wasted on stopping people from drinking. People drank anyway. And in general, the cost of living went up. And as more and more states legalize marijuana, they are seeing boosts to their economy. New businesses are opening up. More tax revenue is coming in. And perhaps counterintuitively, drug use hasn't gone up, it's gone down. In states where there's no legal threat to procuring a substance, there's less danger for holding on to that substance, which means you no longer get into these rapid cycles of buying and using illegal drugs. So yeah, I'm not an expert economist, but drugs are being legalized now for the same reason booze was legalized when Prohibition ended. It's honestly just better off for everyone this way. How hard would you need to fart to launch yourself into space? This is actually not that complicated of a question. Remember, it's not just a matter of force, it's a matter of total energy. Like a space elevator could take you to space with very little force, whereas a rocket is a lot of force all at once. For a 200-ish pound man, looking at anywhere between 1.7 to 2 million newtons to launch yourself into space.
But that's like a direct launch, like if someone punched you into space. So if you farted all at once, that would be the amount of newtons you would need. Again, you could reduce that by farting over a longer period of time. And I would suggest it because releasing all that force out of your ass all at once probably would kill you. Could a kaiju exist, like a terrestrial life form 30 meters plus in height? I hate to break it to you, but no. Or at least not here on Earth. Have you ever heard of the square cube law? If the surface area of an organism is squared, then its volume is cubed. Your insides grow a lot quicker than your outsides, which means your weight is going to increase quicker than your height. This means you're going to need more muscles to support yourself, denser bones to support yourself, and stronger organs to pump blood around your body. But to get those stronger, denser muscles and organs and bones, they need to weigh more, which further creates the problems for stronger muscles, bones, and organs. It can be solved with bigger muscles, bones, and organs, but then you run into the square cube law again. Simply put, giant creatures would collapse under their own weight in Earth's gravity. However, when you counteract the force of gravity by, creating some sort of support structure, you can reduce that wear and tear on the body. Like you mentioned a creature 30 plus meters, right? Blue whales can just grow that big. 33-meter blue whales have been found in the Antarctic. But blue whales are supported by the buoyancy in water. Remove that buoyancy and put them on land, and they just collapse under their own weight. But that's the reason you could find bigger animals in water than on land. You know, like giant squids. Take away that buoyancy, and suddenly they just can't exist anymore. Which is why I said kaiju couldn't exist on Earth. Reduce the force of gravity on these creatures, and they could get bigger. I mean, there's still limits. You still have to, have a powerful heart to pump blood around you. But less gravity means less chance to collapse under your own weight. So yeah, if your definition of a kaiju is a creature that is 30 plus meters in size, then we have kaiju in our oceans on Earth. But you did say terrestrial, which implies that it lives on land, and implies that it lives on Earth. In which case, likely not. You're gonna have to go to the oceans or the stars for this one. My good friend Brosif asks, what are examples of fields other than magnetic? Well, the field that you're most likely familiar with is the gravitational field. That's, why we're stuck on Earth right now. Gravitational field. Jumping. Everything that has mass has a gravitational field. And technically, this gravitational field stretches throughout the entire universe. It's just that it's impossibly weak at long distances. Now, you pointed out magnetic fields, but of course there's also electric fields, and those are just matters of perspective on the electromagnetic field. And technically, you could represent any wave as a field. Like we have electromagnetic waves, we have an electromagnetic field. We have gravitational waves, we have a gravitational field. That technically means that sound waves have a sound field. That sound field is just matter, though. It's air and, whatever else sound travels through. Sound field. Heck, waves in the ocean have a field. It's the ocean. Since all quantum particles are also waves of probability, they have their own quantum fields. In a very real way, a field is just stuff that stuff can happen in. And we got a ton of those. But the classical fields are mostly electromagnetic and gravitational, and then you have quantum fields. Those are the basics. What happens if the world was ending and you went back in time to try and fix it? Okay, so I'm going to start out by saying that in our current model of physics, time travel seems to be impossible. I know that there are a lot of what ifs and blah, 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 blah. Right now, the data shows that it's impossible. But the theoretical models that we do have, in which we theorize that any type of time travel could occur, time travel would have to be causally consistent. In sci-fi movie terms, that means you can't change the past. Whatever you did in the past to try and prevent the future already happened in the past to make this future happen. There is no rewriting history. There is just our timeline. Even if the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics were true, and there were other realities out there where different stuff happened, those realities are completely cut off from us. Time traveling would not allow us to visit them. Time traveling does not alter our quantum state of matter, which is what the many worlds theory is talking about. Which means that if time travel were possible, which once again, current model of physics says it's not. If time travel were possible, then you would go back in time and end up right back where you started, changing nothing. Because when we did this timeline the first time, you already would have been there back in time. We don't like paradoxes much here in the real world. Sucks to be everyone in Back to the Future, I guess. In Chrono Trigger. Actually, they made a game about how it sucked to be in Chrono Trigger. It was called Chrono Cross. Everyone should play Chrono Trigger, by the way. Getting off on a tangent here, it's really windy, and it takes a long time to film 10 minutes of video. Would Harmon count as mass energy manipulation? Okay, I know you're talking about Hamon from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I'm going to choose to interpret this as Does Dan Harmon count as mass energy manipulation? My answer is no, but the ability to manipulate Dan Harmon is mass energy manipulation. For those of you who don't know this model, there are basically only two types of superpower. Your superpower can manipulate mass and energy, which is everything that's covered by quantum mechanics, or it can manipulate time and space, which is everything that's covered by relativity. You're only ever doing one of those two things. And if we ever find the grand unified theory of physics, you're only doing one thing. So Hamon is manipulating energy of some sort, specifically the energy of the sun through your breathing. At which point, yes, it would be classified under mass energy manipulation. Which means if you were to break down JoJo's Bizarre Adventure scientifically, and I don't know why you would, there would be some sort of field that governs the use of Hamon. Waves in that field would create basic Hamon particles. That's what would create the Hamon effects we see. So yes, Hamon is mass energy manipulation. Dan Harmon is too. I am going to have to show people why 99.999 is equal to 100. Well, this is relatively simple because other people have done it for me. Here's the proof. Let x equal 0.9999 repeating. 10x, due to basic mathematics, is 9.9999 repeating because you just moved the decimal place. That means 10x equals 9 plus 0.9 repeating. 0.9 repeating is x, so 10x equals 9 plus x, or 10x. Subtract 1x from each side, you get 9x equals 9. Divide 9 by 9, and you get x equals 1. And if we remember, x was 0.9 repeating, so you get 0.9 repeating equals 1. Thus, 99.99999 repeating equals 100. Do I have any tips on learning, and you love the content? Thank you so much. So here are my biggest tips on learning. Number 1, feed your curiosity where it strikes. People tend to feel bad when they fall down wiki holes. You don't have to. You should not look at acquiring new information as being unproductive. Number 2, don't burn yourself out. Cognitive impairment due to lack of sleep is very real. And in fact, studies show that if we nap immediately after we learn new information, we are more likely to retain it. So in all actual honesty, take a nap. 3, ask questions. While reading studies and reports is useful, nothing is a substitute for a good teacher. Asking questions will get you a long way. And finally, don't let any piece of info be your last stop. For example, my channel is just meant to get you out there doing your own research. Keep at it and you'll go far. Anyway, I've been out here for hours doing this. I'm probably never doing this again. It's very windy and I'm very uncomfortable. But big thank you to everyone who stuck by me. As a reward, here's a sneak peek of my dog. Please click the item label link in my bio. Thank you so much. Too much shit has been happening. Let's give you a rundown. Video games. Eiyuden Chronicle is awesome. It is one of the best old school RPG experiences I have played in recent times. I stream it almost every other day. Come on in, watch the stream. It's very good. Another Crab's Treasure, also very good. I knew it was going to be crab-based Dark Souls, but it's also What If Conker's Bad Fur Day was anti-capitalist. I mean, I love everything about that. Stray has got me playing Third Strike again, and I would be playing it a lot more if it weren't for those other two games. In politics, we're seeing protests of the genocide in Gaza break out all over the place, specifically on college campuses, and more specifically on college campuses that have economic ties to Israel. Of course, we're seeing the same old cycle of cops violently breaking up peaceful protests, ACAB forever. In science, we have created interspecies brains, essentially mice who were born with half of their brain missing, successfully had rat cells injected into them to form the rest of that brain, basically giving them a double species brain. This did in fact improve their functioning. Of course, we're looking at this as a way to possibly heal brain damage in humans, just with species more genetically close to us. Physicists have found a new type of magnet called altermagnets. Instead of all the atoms being arranged in one way, which is how normal magnets work, an orientation of the atoms in the substance alternate in a pattern. We found a new way of making diamonds that doesn't require extreme pressure. Neat. And finally, just cool shit I learned about. Chaos cooking is a new movement that says that cooking shouldn't have rules and you should just make what tastes good. One of the examples given was a Mexican fusion restaurant in New York. It serves things like shrimp teriyaki tacos, birria sushi, and I want it all in my face. Bench is a new type of gaming that has taken China by storm and is trying to come over here to the US. It's a lot like an escape room if the puzzles were other people. Everyone's given scripts, characters, scenarios, and even specific game rules and mechanics. Heck, sometimes they're even given costumes. You get put into a room or a series of rooms, like a set. They each follow their rules and they each play their own game. It's a lot like a pop-up role-playing game, except the goal is for the GM to just fade into the background and not even be there. For more on this, look at the video that People Make Games did on it. It looks great. Anyway, like I said, too much shit is happening, so if you want me to go into more depth on any of these topics, just let me know in the comments. Alright, I did a birthday Ask Me Anything, and this is part 1, and I'm actually going to keep up with the numbers this time. Is mayonnaise a birthday? Depends on the mayo. I mean, Hellmann's isn't, but like a good Kewpie mayo? definitely a birthday. Favorite question that someone on TikTok has asked you? That's definitely gonna be, how hard would you have to pee to leave Earth's orbit and get to the moon? If money isn't a worry and you could summon any comfort item infinitely, what would that item be?
It would be money, and I would give it to other people. Happy birthday, RPG. Hey, thanks, Jacoby DJ. Everyone go follow him. He makes great anime content. Generally love the content, dude. Hope you enjoy the day of rest. Do you know of any slept-on anime that we should know about? Too many. All right, let's go. The original Basilisk is my favorite telling of Ninja Scroll. Unfortunately, it has a sequel, and most people who search for it only find the sequel, and it's hard to find the original, and so there you go. Sequel ain't that great. Talentless Nana. Here's the pitch. Think My Hero Academia. However, all the people who don't have superpowers have correctly come to the conclusion that a bunch of kids with superpowers that could wreck reality is a bad thing. And so one girl who doesn't have superpowers has to infiltrate the superpower school and murder them all without getting caught. Lots of intrigue, best fake out in the first episode I've ever seen. A Centaur's Life. Now, hold with me. This does look like Moe bullshit. And for a bit, it is Moe bullshit. But then they start going into wild fucking world building. Like, what happens to Centaur troops in World War II? There was a fucking frog person apartheid. This went in places I did not think it was going to go for, a cute girls doing cute things show. Sarazanmai. This is another one of those animes that people are gonna bounce off of when they see the main character getting pooped out of a kappa's butt. I bounced off it too, but then a friend told me no, just watch it. And it's one of the best examinations of how we connect as people in a post-capitalist society that I've ever seen. This isn't super unknown because it's airing right now, but everybody watch Gachakuda. It is a thesis on political anarchy. It shows how society works in an anarchist system. It shows people who are not the main characters, who are just people trying to live their lives, doing what they can to aid society, even without direct payment, even when it puts them in danger well beyond what they're capable of handling. It shows those who have the skills to provide in that society looking after those people. It's good. It knows its political science, and also it's just great shown in action. This one also isn't particularly unknown, but still you should watch it. Skate the Infinity, otherwise known as SKU. Extremely 90s, extremely gay, extreme mountain skateboarding. Also, this gave us the best alternative to Ladies and Gentlemen, bitches, bros, and non-binary hoes. Okay, it turns out I have a lot more. I'd be happy to continue this topic in another video. If you want me to, let me know in the comments. But I should move on to some other questions. What are my top 3 bands, favorite genre, and favorite song of all time? I am notoriously bad at picking favorites. Like, there's nothing that I can imagine that I would just want to listen to all the time. But I'll give 3 that just come to mind off the top of my head. I'm white, so Peter Gabriel. I'm white, so George Watsky. And I'm white and from Jersey, so Streetlight Manifesto. Favorite genre is even harder, because, we suck at genre. Genre doesn't explain things very well. But I am a big fan of prog rock, also math rock. Favorite song? Hard to say. Again, I'm really bad at choosing favorites. Ever since I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, boy have I been listening to Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine on loop. Just saying. Happy birthday! What's your favorite gaming system? The SNES. I think it had the best RPGs. I think it had some of the best games, period. The original PlayStation comes in a close second. Which horse girl from Uma Musume is my favorite, and which one do I think is Doom's go-to? Doom uses Kitasan Black, because she's meta-defining and Doom would settle for nothing less. But my favorite horse girl is this picture of Northern Lion drawn as a horse girl. What do I love most about Gurren Lagann? There is something very unique about Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, because it actually fills me with, a sense of hope. And it does that, not through particularly good storytelling. I don't think its storytelling is actually that great. And I don't think its character building is necessarily that great. But it knows how to translate emotion directly to the viewer in ways that so few other animes manage to do. And that elevates all of its other qualities, to the stars. I watched the movie at Otakon in a theater with thousands of other nerds, with my best friend at the time, and the energy of the audience shouting along with the character. It was so powerful, it brought tears to my eyes. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of anime. And Studio Trigger keeps tripping over their own dick whenever they try to make something even remotely like it. Watch Brand New Animal, it was great. And then the last 3 episodes spiraled into genetic essentialism. That's like eugenics shit. I watched Kill la Kill, it was great. And then a character got molested by her own mom. Take the good Trigger anime and clutch it with a death grip and never let it go. What's one thing, fact, or idea that never fails to make me happy to think about? It's actually something that John Green said. When you're a public face on the internet, sometimes you go into your comments and you see some of the meanest and nastiest things that people have ever said directed right at you. And that sucks. But even though one person said that, look at your view numbers and tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people watched your video and made the active choice to not say that. And that fact says better things about the human race than that one shitty comment. Most people are, at least at their baseline, a little good. Did I have a nice birthday? Yeah, I had a great birthday. I slept most of it. Then I went over to a friend's house and we played Thunderfolk and Date Everything. There is some deep Hank lore in that game. Some deep forbidden Hank lore. Have I ever watched Free Rhythm? No, I never managed to, though my partner really likes it. I watched the first episode and I kind of bounced off, but I'm willing to give it another try. And as for would I like a gift, gifts are never necessary, but are always appreciated. What's my favorite dinosaur? Look, I could try to come up with some obscure pull, like some cool scientific fact, but it's Triceratops, okay? If I ruled over the world, what would I change? First step, universal basic income. Second step, prison abolition. Third step, massive scale wealth redistribution. Fourth step, stop ruling over the world because I reject hierarchy. Is time real or are we just all constantly hallucinating? Time is real. It's a dimension of space-time. It's as real as left or right is, or up or down, or forward or back. It's just that we could only experience time in one direction due to entropy and gravity. Again, if you want to know more about that, I could do a video on it. And I have done videos on it in the past. Check my playlists. You didn't think I'd be in my 40s, maybe 30s, almost half a century now. How do I feel? Dead inside. But to be fair, I've felt dead inside since I was a teenager. What did I do before content creation, and how did I find it / enjoy it? Before content creation, I was a journalist. And I really liked it. I really, really liked it. I've done journalism in a bunch of different fields, from political journalism, science journalism, and a lot of video game journalism. Problem is, when my last journalism gig dried up, it was because of the pandemic. And that was right around the time that, generative AI became a thing, which meant pay for writers kind of went down the tubes. And I could not find any publication that was providing any sort of competitive wage similar to what I was doing before. So I either had to take another journalism job for literal pennies on the dollar that I was previously making, or do this. And I mean, I kind of still do what I did in journalism with this. I just do it on my couch with a phone. So you know what? Kind of an upgrade. Screw you, New York Times. You don't know much about comics, but how would Doom feel about Ultron? Doom generally does not like Ultron. First of all, it was an AI that was created and failed in its explicit purpose to protect humanity. So, big failure, Doom doesn't like that. Second of all, it's an AI and Doom has made better AI. So it's a huge threat that Hank Pym still has not managed to handle. Failure all around. What are my thoughts of the development on AI? Not the LLMs or generative stuff, but like the actual development of new AI models. Personally, you find it fascinating, but too wasteful. What are my thoughts? I actually hate that all AI discussion seems to be about generative and LLM AI. I mean, I understand why. That's the stuff that people think is scary. But the AI that's not that has done so much. Did you know that AI was instrumental in basically getting us to a point where we may be able to cure type 1 diabetes? That's huge. Our advances in medical AI are incredible, and it's so hard to talk about them because people kind of default to AI is the devil or AI is the tech boogeyman or something like that. And it's they're doing something completely different than that thing that makes you a mediocre picture if you put in a prompt. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do think that AI is revolutionizing a lot of things. It's just we never talk about that. Was I always left-leaning? So I grew up in a family that I would describe as fairly centrist, but also had its own problems. Would drop the full-ass N-word on the table. My dad said some pretty racist things. And they did some pretty emotionally abusive stuff and some physically abusive stuff. And I said I would never grow up to be like them. So that kind of by default pushed me to the left. And then as I grew up and experienced the world, my worldview became more fleshed out. Stay tuned for part 2. Birthday Ask Me Anything Omnibus Part 2 with a side of Doom.
The music. You think you're done with Outer Wilds, but you're not sure. Should you look up spoilers to see? You shouldn't look up spoilers to see. But I will tell you one thing. You'll know when you're done. Can I say I'm old again? I'm old! Happy birthday. Thank you for everything you do on this app. What's your favorite thing about writing commissions? What's your least favorite thing about it? My favorite thing about writing commissions is that I get to write about a whole bunch of different stuff. I get to see the great ideas that different people have, and I get to help them bring them to fruition. Being a ghostwriter is pretty cool. My least favorite thing about it is that every commissioner has no fucking concept of what time is. I'll give you an example. My commissions are done on a first come, first served basis. Basically, there's a queue. So someone will commission me and I'll be like, all right, you are in slot 5 in the queue. And then 2 days later, they'll be like, have you started on my commission yet? No, I haven't started on your commission yet. First of all, I said I would tell you when I did. Second of all, there are 4 commissions in front of you, which all need to be written and then drafts sent back to the commissioner. And then the commissioner has to get back to me with edits, and they have to be rewritten again. And then those get sent back, and then they get sent back to me with edits and revisions again. And that's not going to happen for 4 separate projects, for 4 separate people in the span of 2 days. Nagging a writer about your commission does not get them to make it quicker. It actually only slows them down. What is my favorite Doom comic run? And is there a Doom comic I would suggest as a starting point? Both I would say are pretty much the same. I recommend Books of Doom. It is a good overview of the character in general. What would Doom's favorite video game be, and what is my favorite bit of janky video game science? And you might expect me to say that Doom's favorite video game is something like, Civilization, because, 4X game, go out, conquer the world. But no, I think he keeps it simple. I think he likes Tetris. I think he likes something simple and meditative. I think he likes Tetris Effect, even. What's my favorite bit of janky video game science? I don't know if this counts as janky video game science, but a lot of collision systems don't actually have it in them for big body movement. So many times, if you needed to, move a train or something, you merely attach it to an unseen character's head, clip that character through the floor, and then move that character, and it will move the train for you. This workaround has been used in so many games. What I think Doom thinks about Luffy in the One Piece verse. I already did a video on this, but in short, he would probably be on Luffy's side. He would see the world government as a gigantic failure, and it's obviously harming its people, and it can't do as good of a job as Doom. So time to dismantle it. What is something I always wanted to do but never could? To a lot of the friends that I lost along the way, say goodbye. To the so-called friends who abandoned me along the way, say fuck you. If my life was an RPG, what RPG would I want it to be? I like Exalted. I like being, cool primordial god beings. That shit's great. I could definitely go for some of that godlike power just so I could, make the bills. Favorite Doom story? I got this question a lot, so I'm going to mention a lot of different Doom stories. I suggest the run of Secret Wars. That's where you got God Emperor Doom, and that's where you get the infamous, Thanos spine pull. All-time favorite fighting game? Skullgirls, baby! Top 16 at EVO, second at ECT. Fucking love that game. Could I rank my top 3 favorite comics? Sure. Number 1 is going to be Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol. Number 2 is going to be Venom's Separation Anxiety. And number 3 is probably Books of Doom, but I gotta say, the One World Under Doom run, it's giving it a run for its money. Depending on how it ends, that might take a slot in my top 3. Though, here's the thing, if we're not just talking about normal-ass, sort of comic industry comic books, then believe it or not, slot 3, the Doom comic, falls off, and Scott Pilgrim takes his place. What is my favorite fact about snails? Their genitals are in their head, around where our ears would be. What is my favorite comic book run, manga, graphic novel? Like I said, Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. That shit was life-changing. What is a physics or chemistry fact that most people don't know that you think everyone should be made aware of? Honestly, I just wish people knew more about thermodynamics. I cook a lot, and I cook for people. And one of the things that I like to do is get a whole bunch of meat, in bulk, and then cook, really good steaks for people. But when I sear them, fire goes everywhere. And I know it's perfectly safe, but everyone else kind of freaks out. And I wish people knew that, fire, actually takes time to burn things. And that if you know what you're doing, it's fine. Don't freak out. Not really a question, but you hope I find a happy memory I haven't thought of in a long time. A lot of my happy memories are bittersweet. I prefer to make new ones. Is that Outer Wilds music? Yep. Outer Wilds is an amazing game. Have I heard of cosmic natural selection theory? Yeah, honestly, I'm not a big fan. It's just one of many, many, many theoretical frameworks that can't be tested cosmologically. It's been criticized many times. I don't buy it. We need to know more about black holes before we could, claim that there are universes on the other sides of them. And we are. We definitely are. But, the idea of a black hole being a means of reproduction for universes is really neat, but we just don't have good evidence for it. How do I feel about trying to make Latveria real, to make Doom proud of us? I want as much as I can to make the world a better place with the resources that I have. One of the things that I have sadly figured out doing videos here on TikTok is that some people just think that other people are inferior, by default inferior. They want to see them suffer. I don't want to see anyone suffer. I want to see people be as happy as possible. That's why I grow a garden and give away food. That's why I give whatever assistance I can to the people around me. I'll never be as good as Doom, but I'm doing my best. Has Doom ever used Asgardian tech? Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Doom has dissected Asgardians before, but no, he has thorough knowledge of Asgardian tech. It's already integrated into his magic tech. Also, he's worthy of Mjolnir. Was there a specific thing that helped me start thinking the way I do, or is it just the neurospices at work? The neurospicy definitely adds to a lot of it, but honestly, it's just getting out there and experiencing the world. There are so many different types of people doing so many different types of things everywhere. And when I did journalism work, I had to interact with them. And that kind of jump-started things. But mostly it's the rampant unmedicated ADHD. I'm always bored and I gotta be learning something. You have a soda bar question. Have I ever used it to make slushy? Yes, I have. Unfortunately, you can't really make a carbonated slushy. You need to really slow freeze and churn anything you're gonna make a slushy out of. And at that point, the carbonation's gonna go away. But the good thing is, it doesn't really matter. Like all those slushies you used to get at the movie, those aren't actually carbonated. It's just, slush ice and syrup. And, as long as you have a way to make shaved ice, then you got slushies. How do I feel about grapplers in fighting games? Grapplers for life! I have one brain cell and I'm proud of it. I'ma churn that butter on block pressure and you better not drop your string. The fact that Miss Marvel in Marvel Tokon Fighters has a grab as her ultimate, chef's kiss. Right from the streets of Jersey City. 41, you thought I was in my mid to late 20s. I appreciate it. Young mind, young body. At least I try to keep my outlook young. Outer Wilds fan? Yes, definitely one of the best games I've ever played. And if you like the Outer Wilds, try playing Void Stranger. It's very similar, although sprite-based. Could Reed become a Latverian citizen? Your local Doombot has been notified. Does Doom find Moon Knight's antics searching for Dracula entertaining? I mean, a little bit, but really, Doom is just one of the many people who is kind of, terrified of Moon Knight, which you'd think, wouldn't be a thing, because Doom is superior. But, part of Doom's superiority is being intelligent. He knows better than to fight Squirrel Girl, and he knows better than to fight Moon Knight. There are easier ways to get them to go away. What is my favorite TTRPG, and what do I think is the best designed one? My favorite TTRPG is definitely Exalted. And the streamlined Exalted Essence, I think, is the best that they've done so far. The best designed RPG, I actually think, is For the Queen. It doesn't need a GM. It fills 1 to 3 hours. And all you need is the deck of cards and people willing to answer questions. Genius in simplicity. Games, ultimate games, but no games? I have no idea what this is asking. Happy birthday, I really enjoy the escapism of imagining life under Doom, but I'm interested to know in what country you think would be best politically in the real world right now. I gotta be honest, I don't feel super comfortable answering this question because, I can keep up with world politics via the news, right? But I don't think you could really know what life is like in another country without going there and living there. And I don't have the money to do that. I would if I could, but I'm just, I'm just paying the bills right now. Does my back hurt? You know what? It doesn't. You'd think it would, especially because I'm a little overweight. But my back, my knees, none of them went. It's my fingers that went. All that gaming. But, put a little screw in it. It's good as new. Part 3 next. I told you I'd answer all the questions. Birthday Omnibus Part 5. How does one grow into their own identity? Honestly, you gotta just try a bunch of things on. And by that I mean try a bunch of things. Try different clothes on, try a bunch of different hobbies, meet a bunch of different people, go to a bunch of different places. Do you like the beach or do you like the city? Do you like going out to a bar? Do you like staying in and playing crunchy Euro games? You try stuff and then stuff kind of sparks and it's like, yeah, this is me. And the thing that a lot of people don't know is that none of that stuff is forever. Like, based on studies, we become like new people every 7 years. You might have been really into something when you were a teenager that you're not when you're an adult. Or you may be really into something that you were in your 20s that you're not into in your 30s. But it is never too late to reinvent yourself. And you just do that by living as wide an experience that you can. Do I like banana bread? Do I? I have realized the correct amount of bananas that I could buy without them spoiling. And that is 8. So if I don't want banana bread, I buy 8 bananas. And if I do want banana bread, I buy more than 8 bananas. Happy birthday, you're becoming one of my favorite comic creators, and I'm planning on starting to read Doom comics because of your videos. I'm curious, what are your favorite video games? Thoughts on the Arkham games? Thoughts on Marvel Rivals? And what Doom comics would you recommend? First of all, I'm gonna say, straight out, Books of Doom, great place to start. I've said that many times. But since I said I would do a different storyline every time someone asked that question, I'm going to recommend Blood Hunt this time. So honestly, read that after Books of Doom, you need some context. My favorite video game is probably Chrono Trigger. I could play it just any time, all the time. I also really like Xenogears. And for fighting games, I like Skullgirls and Marvel 2. My thoughts on the Arkham games? They're fun, and I enjoyed them a lot when they came out. But playing them again later on, they've lost a lot of their sheen in retrospect. It's the combat. The combat is a little too repetitive for me. My thoughts on Marvel Rivals? I mean, it's Marvel Overwatch. Or I should say, it's Marvel easier Overwatch. Like, it is stupidly forgiving. And also a little bit random. Which, doesn't make for a very good competitive game, but makes great for a very engaging game that a lot of people like. So, yeah. Cool, Marvel Rivals. Probably not for me, because I refuse to play with randos and I don't have, a full team. But, have fun. What's my favorite dinosaur? I said this already. Triceratops. Stegosaurus, close second. Who's my favorite Muppet? Look, man, it's gotta be Animal. What is my favorite genre of games? RPGs. I know, shocker, right? Secondarily, puzzle games, but escape roomy, narrative puzzle games, and fighting games. Are there any new games I'm looking forward to playing? I can't wait for Shoot in Order to come out. That looks like an amazing game. I'm going to be playing 2XKO, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, Invincible Versus. Coming out soon is an indie game that I'm very interested in called Artist Impact. Oh shit, that's actually coming out tomorrow, isn't it? Dope. And finally, Varlet is also coming out in August, and that's like a Persona-like game, which I'm very interested in. Any thoughts on Andy Weir book? Do I read many books outside of comic? I haven't read much Andy Weir, but I do read books outside of comic. Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman. One of my favorite book series is the classic Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I also really like Frank Herbert's Dune. I've read Neil Stephenson, like Snow Crash, Seven Eves, stuff like that. Andy Weir's a blind spot, but I'll pick him up, see how I like him. Do I think it's worth going on with a world like this? Let me tell you something, as someone who suffers from suicidal ideation and still experiences it, it is always worth going on. Always. I think of that scene in Sandman where, that one guy was given immortality, and, he meets up with Dream, and his life has sucked. He's been in and out of jail, he's been starving, he's been ill, there's been war, everyone he's ever loved has left him, and Dream's like, surely you're tired of life now. He's like, what, are you kidding? No, I'm just gonna keep living. I feel like that. I live out of spite. And let me tell you something, spite is fucking invigorating. Getting up every day and saying, fuck you, you're not gonna beat me today. I am going to stand up and make this world a better place, goddammit, because I fucking can. It makes you feel like a superhero. I've been homeless, I've been ill, and most of the people that I considered friends have in fact abandoned me. But I still have friends, and my heart's still beating, and I can still provide a meal to people who need it. So no matter how depressing the world gets, and it's fucking depressing, don't get me wrong, I pull a Captain America on them. I get up and I say, I could do this all day. And if things seem hopeless right now, just think about how much different things were just 5 years ago. That's how different things can be 5 years from now. What is the first RPG I've ever played, and what is my favorite? So I'm going to talk about both console RPG and TTRPG. Console RPG, the first I ever played was Earthbound. I was fucking spoiled. My favorite, like I said before, is Chrono Trigger, but because I'm not doubling up on any of these, I also really suggest Xenogears. That shit is great. My first TTRPG was Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. Good old AD&D with THAC0 and everything. And my favorite is Exalted, but lately I've also really been enjoying Triangle Agency and Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast. Remember that time Toad turned Doom's estate in America into a theme park? To be fair, Arcade helped him. But as far as we saw from the next arc where there was like a mini town built in the castle, the Doom Castle in upstate New York just still has fucking theme park rides in it. I mean, I guess there's a reason why Doom rules from Latveria these days. But funny enough, that means that if you want to, you can just go to upstate New York and basically go to a Latverian-themed theme park that looks like the Castle Doom in Latveria, except it might kill you. Comics are weird. What is my favorite show? Like, ever? I know it's camp, but Captain N the Game Master. How am I overall? Hope I'm doing okay. Whenever someone in the comics asks if I'm okay, I always respond with, I have never been, nor will I ever be, nor am I okay. But I mean, if I'm going to be real, life's been alright. Missions have been frustrating recently. I am unfortunately a little behind with them. But you know, birthday time. I get to be a little behind. What reptile pet wood do I have and why? Honestly, I fucking love snakes. Snakes are awesome. I had a snake once, like, when I was a kid, but, like, only for a very brief period of time, because my family wasn't into it. If I had more space, like, for, like, a terrarium, like, I would totally get a snake. But, you know, even though I have a 2-bedroom apartment, I really don't have the space. Because, I mean, my comic book and Eurogame collection is a little bit too big in the office. Whoops! What's my favorite Pokemon? I answered this in the last video. It is Joltik. Reasons. 1, it was the first time I ever got into competitive Pokemon. Compound Eyes and Thunder, first time my brain switched on and was like, oh, I could competitively combine abilities. Second of all, I'm a city kid and they are city Pokemon. Third of all, the fact that they spin the wires used for internet in the Pokemon world is super cool to me. Fourth, they're cute as fuck. Would Doom go to a Latverian birthday party if you asked? And would he do make a wish fulfillment? Yes and yes, though he is more likely to do a wish fulfillment in person, and for the random birthday, it would probably be a Doombot. But you know, just take the Doombot. Happy birthday, what's my favorite horror game? I'm gonna say something controversial. Silent Hill 3. Not 2, 3. 2 was great, don't get me wrong, 2 was a masterpiece, but I think 3 hit me a little bit harder, especially in context with Silent Hill 1. Have I seen The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch? Unfortunately not. What do I think is in the Mesa or under the Triangle? After a Google search, I realized that this has to do with that TV show, and now I need to watch it. Would I ever give Deep Rock Galactic a try? Yeah, sure, I'll try anything. I actually want to get back into streaming. It's really just a money problem at this point. Being a content creator is nice, but it doesn't actually pay all my bills. So what I have to do is take side gigs, and those side gigs take time. So if I'm going to start streaming, it takes away from those side gigs. Which is why the way I'm doing it on my Patreon is every time I get a certain amount of monthly donations, then I basically quit a side gig and then use those donations instead. And if we get enough, then I can return to streaming and try different video games. How am I holding up? Alright, like I said, commissions are a little wonky just because I'm falling behind during my birthday. But I get to do that because it's my fucking birthday. What are some of my book recommendations? There are 2 that I'm going to say you have to read. Number 1, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Honestly, one of my favorite books of all time. And number 2, J-Pod by Douglas Copeland, because it really shows you what a hell video game development is like. What did I think of Dr. Doom in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance game? He was fine. Video games tend to portray Doom as just kind of mad scientist with lasers, which, you know, so did Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But, you know, they did better than the movies. What character, fictional or real, do you identify with now that you are you now? Like, who holds your ideals but also sort of your way of doing things for better or worse? Who embodies a balance of your experience and your hopes for yourself and your future? Bud Cubby, the anarcho-socialist postman halfling from Dimension 20 Fantasy High. Listen, here's the thing. I don't know what you kids are up to, but I do know one thing. Laws are threats made by the dominant socioeconomic ethnic group in a given nation. It's just a promise of violence that's enacted, and police are basically an occupying army. You know what I mean? Hey, you want to make some bacon? Dimension 20 fans, if you know, you know. I had a good weekend, but it's time to return to the Ask Me Anything Omnibus number 9. Happy birthday. My question is, what helps you to handle all the hate and vile things that comes your way? Number one, block button. Block early, block often. Seriously, it's your space. Just hit the block button. You never have to deal with them again. Number two, and I said this in another video, but John Green once had a quote. For every one person who spews hate and vile things on your video, think about everyone else who saw your video and made the active choice not to do so. They are in the vast minority of humanity. They are a very loud, very mean minority. Which again, block button. Like, I'm gonna be real, I have 187,000 followers. And I'm pretty low grade as far as, like, content creators go. If some dude pisses me off, even the tiniest bit, get the fuck out of here. I never have to see him again. Block button. Can Doom ball? So hard the Avengers gotta find him. Would I rather pee out a cactus once a month or every hour on the hour the closest person to me sneezes in my mouth? I would rather pee out a cactus once a month. I have chronic kidney stone problems. I already do. Happy birthday, Best Fat Sandwich. Well, the Best Fat Sandwich from Rutgers has a name that I can't say here, but it had lettuce, tomato, onion, french fries, mozzarella sticks, chicken fingers, cheesesteak, lamb gyro, ketchup, and mayonnaise. It is the Fat Filipino, but it is the predecessor to the Fat Filipino. That you can't say anymore. I would sometimes get barbecue sauce on it. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, go to Rutgers, get a fat sandwich. It'll change your life. What is my favorite Star Trek show? Okay, listen to me. The Next Generation is the better show, but my favorite show is the original series because I love the camp. Next Generation makes me think, but original series makes me smile like an idiot. Will I read Ajin Demi-Human? It's a pretty good use of immortality. I actually watched Ajin Demi-Human, and while the animation was pretty rough, I did enjoy it. Happy birthday. Maybe I've answered this before, but what is my first favorite RPG? Oh, I'm sorry. What is my first favorite RPG style? My first favorite RPG style is the JRPG because it's just what I started with. I remember I went to my grade school friend's home and he was playing Earthbound and the game just looked like black magic to me. Like, there was this menu-based, combat system and there were all these colors flying around the screen. Like, I'll be honest, I got spoiled because Earthbound is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. And that's the game that I started on. Have I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And if so, what did I think of it? I was one of those weirdos who was reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure before it got an anime adaptation. Because I played Heritage for the Future, that Capcom fighting game, and I needed to know what the fuck was up with it. Long story short, I fucking love it. Also, it brings a smile to my face every time that Giorno Giovanna was like, I will do so many horrible things, but I will never sell drugs to kids. Meanwhile, in Arc 9, Jodio Joestar comes from New Jersey to Hawaii and says, let's sell some drugs to kids. Happy birthday. I don't have much, but have I seen To Be Hero X? Yes, I've been watching it with one of my best friends, and it is incredible. My only gripe is that they ditched the multimedia format in the Lucky Cyan arc, and I feel like the show did lose something from that. But overall, the way that it's woven together all these disparate plots, it is an amazing feat of storytelling, which is saying something because the 2B heroes that came before it are kind of ass. Top 3 favorite Pokemon. Well, I've already answered my favorite several times. It's Joltik. I'm gonna do the no doubles thing. From Gen 1, my favorite was Articuno. It's my favorite of the 3 legendary birds. From Gen 2, my favorite was Unknown. I know it was a gimmick Pokemon, but there were so many fan theories back in the day. And in Gen 3, my favorite was Shedinja. I like gimmicks. Happy birthday. Do I listen to any country folk music? And if so, would I recommend anyone? Have you guys heard of the Bootstrap Boys? I'll link them down in the doobly-doo. Go follow them. They're great. What are my opinions on isekai as a genre? I don't think there's anything specifically wrong about isekai as a genre. Isekai existed well before we had the term. Connecticut Kid and King Arthur's Court, I mean, it's basically the same thing. It's just that since isekai is so popular, it's easy to become formulaic. That doesn't necessarily mean that more isekai is bad. It's just 99% of everything is bad. And that just means since there's so much more isekai, you are seeing the bad so much more often. But there is definitely still good isekai. You just have to look harder. Is One World Under Doom an acceptable place to delve into Doom comics? I would have said so, except for the recent plot twists. Honestly, just start with Books of Doom, and then we'll see how One World Under Doom ends up wrapping up. What if a Latverian was a serial killer? Would Doom magic away the crazy? Doom is very for bodily autonomy, but he will not allow someone to go around harming his country. You hear that, Ryan North? So he would likely give them a choice. Allow him to fix the thing that drives you to kill people so that you will never harm another Latvarian. Join a special task force so that you could kill Doom's enemies. Or perish. Why do I call them an omnibus instead of an FAQ? Well, first of all, these questions aren't frequently asked. They've been asked only once. And second of all, I'm a big fan of Ask a Ninja, and Ask a Ninja called them omnibuses. Happy birthday, is horseradish a birthday? Depends on the type. Bad horseradish isn't a fun time. But like Arby's horsey sauce, that's definitely a birthday. As a fellow person with ADHD, do I have any tips to help getting started on things? Oh, I feel you there, buddy. I feel you there. Luckily, I'm genetically a motherfucker. Sorry, I mean I have an MTHFR gene variant, and that makes it so that L-methylfolate vitamin B actually helps me to focus a lot. That and coffee. But really, the thing that helps me the most is I set aside a time during the day where I am not allowed to, do the things that I would normally do for recreation. For me, it's around noon. I tell myself, okay, at noon, I'm not allowed to watch YouTube videos, I'm not allowed to watch anime, I'm not allowed to play video games, I'm not allowed to do any of those things. And I'm not allowed for 2 hours, so at 2, I could start again. Eventually, I get so bored that I start doing work. It's not always clear what the work is gonna be. Maybe I'll clean my apartment, maybe I'll work on a commission, but I definitely get work done. The other piece of advice that I have is get stuff started with other people around. Like really, just invite a friend over and tell your friend to keep telling you to start the shit. And it gets a lot easier. Parallel work and parallel play. It's a fucking lifesaver. So the Flood and Halo canon is forklift certified. Is Doom forklift certified? You best believe he is. Mostly because he's giving out the certifications. What Marble League team would Doom support? Well, I would say Crazy Cat's Eyes, but they didn't get in this year. So that's my team. I'm gonna say Balls of Chaos. No, I'm Pan, but do I have any preferences? I prefer deeply, profoundly unknowable Lovecraftian bullshit. In Date Everything, the first thing I dated was my own nightmares. Happy birthday. Any advice for aspiring writers? It is better to be done than perfect. You should write stuff, and you should not worry about the quality very much. You should just worry about getting it done, and then moving on to the next thing. That's how you steadily improve. If you procrastinate trying to make just one work perfect, that work is only gonna be about mid-level anyway, so you take a bit of a quality hit to increase your learning speed. Just keep writing. Did I play Bravely Default? Yes, I did. Absolutely loved it. I'm a sucker for a good job system. Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite Final Fantasy. Do I like Majora's Mask? Yes, it is my favorite Zelda game. I think it's better than Ocarina of Time by miles. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but, sue me. Thoughts on the Trails and Octopath game? Octopath Traveler is okay. The biggest issue is that they didn't do a great job bringing the stories together. I feel like they did a better job with that with Live Alive, whatever. And Trails is a very great series. The problem is it's one of those series that is so huge, it's hard to recommend to new people. It's like recommending One Piece to someone. You fucking know what I mean. How many Dooms could a Doombot doom if a Doombot could doom Dooms? 42. Do I like the Borderlands series, and am I playing Borderlands 4? Happy birthday. I don't know. I liked Borderlands 1, and I liked Borderlands 2 better than Borderlands 1, but every Borderlands since, I've liked a little less. So, maybe? How am I enjoying Deltarune? What are my thoughts on Susie? Oh, I beat, the new chapters of Deltarune in a day, just after they came out. Susie gives me fucking life. I love her. Favorite character by far. Why does she bleed, though? Why does she bleed? Was that real blood, or was that just Dark World blood? Why did she know how to clean up blood in the real world? What's happening? How do I feel about a good roguelite? I love roguelites. They are the perfect thing to keep an ADHD brain occupied. I reviewed a horror roguelite, No Skin, on my YouTube page. You should go check it out. I consider the Pokemon world a pretty great place to live, and if I were there, what would I do? If I were there, I would make a halfway decent team and beat the same 5 kids on the same route to make a living wage every day. Oh, little Timmy, you're fighting with a Caterpie? Great, here's God. Give me $10. Oh shit! That's all of them. Well, thanks for participating in my happy birthday Ask Me Anything. Now return you to your regularly scheduled local Doombot being notified. It's time for another Everything Omnibus. Can I make a video about the diplomatic relations Latveria has with other countries? How does Doom deal with geopolitics? Doom's public policy is that Latveria does not get involved in foreign affairs. Doom, however, will himself personally get involved in whatever foreign affairs he deems necessary. In the Marvel Universe, though, you could use this rule of thumb. If it is a country that exists in the real world, then they likely are enemies with Latveria. If it is a country that was made up for Marvel, then it is likely that they have an alliance or at least a good standing with Latveria. And honestly, the Marvel writers just did this so that it was easy to get Doom to interact with people in interesting ways, and also easy to set up Doom in conflict. But Doom's general policy is he will fix your problem if you decide to become part of Latveria. Remember, you have to want it. If you don't want it, it doesn't count. Is there a periodic table for antimatter yet? Yes. It looks exactly like the periodic table. Again, antimatter interacts with antimatter the same way that matter interacts with matter. So there's anti-everything. There's anti-hydrogen, anti-helium, anti-water, it's just literally, it's just matter flipped. Aside from that flipping, aside from the way that it interacts with matter, it's gonna look exactly the same. So the periodic table of antimatter is the same as the periodic table of matter, just with, all the atomic numbers flipped. Antimatter may be a myth. They made it up to fudge over math inconsistencies with figuring out physics. No. We've made antimatter. We've made anti-atoms. We've made anti-hydrogen. They just exist in labs. It's been shown to the public. Just no, that's wrong. If you turn on a flashlight in a vacuum, is that light traveling at light speed? Yes. What are the requirements for light itself to travel faster? There are none. You can't. And if you want it to travel slower, you have it move through a medium. But then it's not really light traveling slower. It's the combined wave of light and that medium traveling slower. Can I do a video on gyro aiming and why the gaming republic at large rejects it so much? Honestly, there's a lot of held over animosity from the early days of motion controls. The Kinect and the early days of the Wii and stuff like that, the PS Motion Plus and all that goddamn shit, that was forced on us for a lot of products, and it didn't work very well. Remember Tony Hawk's Ride? Anyway, that's made a lot of people basically feel like any sort of motion controls are bad, even though motion controls have become a lot better and a lot more accurate. The Nintendo Switch 2 is actually trying to shatter this perception by including more gyro controls and making one of the Joy-Cons a mouse. It's basically equating gyro controls to mouse controls. But gamers are stubborn, they don't like change. Lots of fighting gamers still use arcade sticks, even though fighting games haven't been designed for arcade sticks for ages. It's me. I'm fighting gamers. What are my thoughts on third-party launchers other than Steam and how we could get bigger markets for them? I actually think that eventually everything is going to become launcher-based. Or at least it's going to become platform-based. Look at Xbox Game Pass. At this point, Microsoft isn't really competing in the console market. They have a very small sliver of the console pie, but a very large sliver of the game pie with Game Pass. And the way that they're competing with Steam is by making it more of a live service. I think in general, you don't want to have too many launchers because proprietary technology kind of blows. You do kind of want to have all your games in one place, but you do want to have a lot of different marketplaces because that in general will drop the price of PC games. That being said, I don't think any launcher is going to be able to compete with Steam just doing what Steam does. First of all, you're going to have a killer app that's exclusive to your launcher. See Fortnite, see League of Legends. And second of all, you're going to need a monetization method that is not just by game. And I think eventually every major company and every major game company is going to focus on launchers instead of consoles, other than Nintendo, because Nintendo is run by old people. Is there a cheap method for nitrogenating your drinks? Yeah, you could get a nitro canister on Amazon pretty easy. It's the stuff that you make whipped cream with. Look, you just get these charger canisters, you put it in one of these whipped cream dispensers, and then there you go. Nitrogenated whatever. I'm messing with the format. This one's shorter. Let me know if you like them short. It's time for another omnibus. Do we have any idea how matter won over antimatter in the early universe? We don't have a very good idea. There may be slight differences in how the weak force interacts with matter and antimatter, but that is a big may, and this is very bleeding edge quantum mechanics. This is still one of the great mysteries of the world. Your sister read a ton of Animorphs books. You just thought it was about people turning into animals? No, it's about child soldiers. It's about how capitalism is modern-day slavery. It's about the military-industrial complex. Animorphs kicks fucking ass and is tragic as hell. Read Animorphs. Could there be life made out of antimatter, like antimatter humans? There's no reason there couldn't be. Antimatter interacts with antimatter the same way that matter interacts with matter. So if there was enough antimatter in the universe somewhere out there, it would have to be past the observer boundary, then yeah, it could make antimatter proteins and antimatter amino acids and antimatter DNA and eventually antimatter life. There's nothing in physics stopping that. It's just, well, we haven't seen it, so it's probably not there, being that there would be a whole lot of matter-antimatter explosions if it did exist. Do I have any fruity drink recipes I want to share? So here's the Mad Alchemy. It's Coke, banana syrup, cookie butter syrup, salted caramel, and cinnamon.
It tastes like you're drinking a Bananas Foster. That's good.
Accepting your responsibility for your actions is step one to fixing them. I absolutely agree. This is posted in response to a video where I said I don't have as much sympathy for people who fall down the alt-right pipeline and don't do anything to fix their actions. There is this tendency for a certain group of people to externalize everything. Say, oh, I did a bunch of horrible stuff, but people were trying to make me do horrible stuff. No, you still did that horrible stuff. You were manipulated into it, but you still caused harm, and you still need to own that harm. Then, after you accept responsibility for those actions, you could move on. For the people who accept responsibility for their actions, I have all the sympathy in the world. They're generally trying to become a better person. But for the people who don't, they're just trying to avoid blame. And that shows that they haven't really grown. What is 0 times infinity? 0. The way we know this is you have to look at multiplication logically. The reason why we say time is because you have that quantity that amount of time. So for example, let's take the expression 5 times 2. You have groups of 2 5 times. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 10. You could also have a group of 5 2 times. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. So we apply that to 0 times infinity. You could have infinite groups of 0, infinite groups that have nothing in it, and you still end up with nothing. Or you could have no groups of size infinity, and since you have no groups, you have nothing. So 0 times infinity is 0. Anyway, that's enough for now. Join my Discord, support me on Patreon, and support my sponsor, Item Label.
Welcome to the Low Effort Omnibus, the show where I clear out my drafts because the 24-hour news cycle is bullshit, and sometimes I just don't have enough to do low-effort news. Did I finish Death Stranding 2, and what did I think about it? I did finish Death Stranding 2. I thought it was a pretty good game. That being said, it was basically more of the original, and the original was just Kojima-ing as hard as he possibly could. But I'm fine with that. The words of the author aren't law. I mean, yeah, okay, I guess if you power scale hard enough, you end up getting to death of the author, which is fine. If a game isn't very accessible, it doesn't mean it's failed. I mean, if a game isn't very accessible, it tends to not sell, because you have to access a game to be able to enjoy it. If a game sells very well, then it is by definition accessible to all those people that it's sold to. Hence, accessibility really is tied to success. And believe it or not, when games include accessibility functions, it's not just woke bullshit. It turns out that people with accessibility needs have money. Or at least as much as anyone has money these days. What sweetener do I like if I don't like aspartame? Allulose. I do a lot of my baking with allulose. It tastes basically like normal sugar. Am I over a minute? Can I get monetized? Cool, join my Patreon and Discord.